Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
But yeah, where's this one? That's
Was
not. I got it. I got it.
all right. Nice,
I got it.
nice, nice. I was like, is it in between all these cards, bro? I'm stoked.
Charles going back to back, yeah that's a fact. 2023, 2024, with the league on his back. Took chase in the first quarter, they know how to act. My lineup bigger than syrup on some fluffy flapjack.
Draft day came, Charles locked in the zone. Jake State's first pick, yeah, the throne was his own. Then begin the second, defense is all shook. Stiff arm so hard, sent him straight to the books. Third round, devour me a beast on the field.
No way.
Flexing versatility, got the game still. Fourth round, Lamar, QB1 in the mix. Dropping down, drinking
Yeah,
ankle,
dude.
stacking up the picks. Week by week, Charles stacking the dubs. Every lineup looking like got hit by the gloves. No mercy, no chill, just fantasy thrills. With a squad so deep.
Stop it.
Oh, I like it. It's fun.
Oh man,
Hell yeah.
listen, I appreciate it, dude. I appreciate it. The science, it was there. It was a tough season. I really did. I got lucky. I got lucky. I did. I got lucky a handful of times. I was telling, can't remember who I was just telling this to, but I still remember like how I beat Brad earlier in the season.
Oh
I
yeah, the
mean, like,
first game, first week.
well, so
Oh,
that was
that was a different one.
yeah, that was Brent. That's what I'm saying. Like, so week one, I'm playing the number one draft pick, right? I've got CMC, and I'm looking at like a 23-point loss, right? I mean, like I'm getting this is going to be a tough year. I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be a tough year, and ended up breaking through on that one. Thank goodness the San Francisco 49ers just figured out a loophole, I guess, and decided not to tell everyone that the number one running back in the world is not going to play this year. So I'm not sure how they did that, but it definitely helped me in my championship run because I ended up winning week one. But how I ended up beating Brad, it was crazy. Tennessee Titans, they got the ball. They're winning. They're in the red zone. It's fourth down. They're on like the 3 yard line, 4 yard line. Nothing makes sense other than to either just kick the fucking field goal. I mean, or like hike the ball and just run backwards, right? Like you want to run the timeout, like just run backwards. But instead, they hike the ball. They run this halfback dive. Tony Pollard hits that middle pack and bounces outside to the right. There isn't a soul in front of him. Double zeros on the clock. And Pollard scores a touchdown. And I end up winning by like 0.78 points or something stupid like that, dude. And it's like, how did that even happen,
It
dude?
doesn't. It doesn't
How,
happen like that.
how does that even happen? Yeah. So, I mean, it was awesome. It really was. I think I had a 10 game win streak. I think it was a nine or
Yeah.
10. Yeah, I had a 10 week win streak to start the season. Or no, not nine. Anyway, no, 8. Jesus, listen to me. I had an 8 week because I went 2-2 the last 4 weeks. So I had an 8 or 9 win streak to start the year. So that was fantastic. Um, yeah, no, it was a really good time having Mike and PR in there for the first time, having our buddy Hunter. Dude doesn't even, I mean, he loves football, but has no idea what football is. We hope to see him back again next year because he learned as the season went on. Just
Oh
it
yeah.
was way too late. And he ended up kicking, he's the one who I think ended my win streak, bro. I think like I beat PR that week, the week before, like 160-94, right? Like,
I looked into it. There's a couple people in the league who really just got a bad draw. Like
yeah,
as far as like the schedule goes, like they played you back to back with
yeah,
Brent and all
yeah.
these people and just got completely decimated. You did bring up a good point though. I mean, you brought up two of the good players. I mean, I had the other one, Ridley. Between Ridley and Pollard, I mean, Tennessee actually has something to look forward to, at least in the future, if they can hold on to both those pieces. But
Well, they
Ridley's,
they have a number one draft pick coming up,
yeah,
and I believe they are on the who the hell got no they're keeping their head coach but fired their GM.
Yeah, they got rid of the
That's what Tennessee
GM.
did.
Well, that was the guy that I thought looked like Sam Perkins or whatever. I was like, oh, this guy was the GM.
Unlike the Raiders, who kept Tom Telesco, who did just an amazing job for the Chargers, right?
Yeah.
Because okay, I kind of just talked myself into it because Jim Harbaugh did wonderful things. Not a lot of people thought playoffs. We talked about it. I don't think any of us sat solid on seeing them in. I think a few of us had them as a sleeper.
We speculated. Yeah, like you said, they were a sleeper.
I believe we had them as a sleeper. Go back to previous episodes to fact check us if you want. So that was different, but so maybe keeping Tom for the Raiders wasn't so terrible because Tom is the guy who drafted Justin Herbert, a bunch of those people really. I mean, outside of Ladd McConkey and Joe Alt this year, Tom is the one who drafted that whole effing thing. But to get Harbaugh, you had to give the keys away. So maybe the Raiders have an idea on what they're doing. I just don't think he knows how to hire a head coach. Does anybody want to fight me on that one?
No, they're all stuck. There's a bunch of teams you can count on your hands that are stuck in this route. I mean, even the Dallas Cowboys, you want to put those on the list as well.
What a wild joke with
Dallas,
that one.
Detroit Lions for a long time until the last few years, they were on that list as well. I mean, now Chicago Bears are stuck in this rut. There's a lot of teams that are.
This rut. Well, I mean, so Tom definitely is not going to have. Well, Tom Telesco is not going to have any say in this Raiders decision.
They just reached out? Who did they just reach out to try to get as a head coach?
Bill Belichick, bro.
Oh, I thought it was like Trent Dilfer or something because they're like NFL executives.
They're talking to Bill, and right now,
that's what Mike was talking about earlier. Yeah. You were like, there's no way you're going to convince
$10
Bill.
million. $10 million is the buyout for North Carolina, and if they wait until June 1st, 2025. They wait until June 1st, 2025, it's $1 million.
You think his girlfriend wants to just sit in Vegas on the strip, or is she going to be content?
Fuck yeah, she does.
Or should be content in North Carolina with all the college guys. I mean,
in Chapel Hill where there's nothing to do. No,
I think it was more about the money when it came down to that and his legacy, maybe. I think we forget about his ego. We forget about his ego a little bit.
Or
if he goes in and takes
what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why he took the Carolina job. But at this point, from my understanding, multiple teams have reached out to Bill to see if he was interested.
If you wave $10 million in my face, and I say I was a successful NFL coach, obviously not to the extent of somebody like Bill Belichick, but if I was a guy who maybe had made the playoffs, gotten there a few times, and I was a good leader, I don't know. $10 million to me will get me out of any retirement that I was even thinking. But he already signed a contract with North Carolina. I don't think he wants to be that person, just be like, F you, and bail on him. I think he'll give it a year. Maybe if he doesn't have success in a year, I can see him going back to the NFL 100%.
It's a $20 million flip. You go from paying $10 million to getting $10 million overnight. Because the buyout doesn't happen over a 5-year stretch. It would happen basically instantaneously. Right. And I don't think North Carolina would be in a terrible position at this point, because if it was good enough for Bill Belichick, it's good enough for anybody.
Yeah. Who knows who else would be jumping through that door, now that he's got the recruits talking as well.
Right. And it's early enough in the transfer portal, if Bill really did care about the kids, that it wouldn't affect anything at all. Even arguably waiting until June would affect it. But there's enough money in this situation between Tom Brady and Mike Davis and Bill Belichick that a $10 million buyout is. We're not talking about people struggling to get to the bank here.
I forget that Brady has interest in the.
Which was the other Tom I was going to bring up. Yeah, and I think Mike was going to bring that up to us as well before I cut him off. Do we think Tom Brady is going to be. So Tom Brady is going to have somewhat of a say.
He's got to have his hands in on it for sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking Tom Brady over Tom Telesco is an opinion I would much rather have. What do you say, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously want the guy who's won 7 Super Bowls, but I think the problem is there's still limits to what Brady can and can't do as an owner because of his broadcast contract.
Well, yeah, that's a given, but I mean,
No.
But I think even that includes uh, coach hiring and stuff like that, because if you don't hire that coach on, right, and he goes and hires to another team, there's some wording in the contract of Brady's uh, broadcast contract where he essentially has to stay away from day to day. So he may have an input and say, "Hey, look, I've worked with this guy, or I know Mike Vrabel, or I know this person, or obviously I know Belichick."
well, yeah, I
So
don't think there's anything stopping him from going
Nah,
out
there-
rubbing
I think there would
elbows
be-
and buying the guys some sushi or buying them some lobster tails, and having a dinner
a
conversation
simple
with them.
title would probably take care of most of that, and then then a basic punch card.
Yeah.
Right. I would
Oh,
say
Sizzler?
yeah, because you basically you would be a consultant at that point in time.
It'd be the booty barn in freaking Las Vegas.
So, and I thank you for bringing that up, Mike, too, because while you were talking, I connected a couple of dots there, and maybe that's why the wording with it is Tom Brady will have some say
Yeah,
in the next head coach, instead of it being Tom Brady's a part of the head coaching hunt for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh yeah, you know how they're going to spin this. It's 100%. That's how it's going to go.
yeah.
Under
Yeah, of course,
the
I mean-
legality of it.
You would
So
be
that's why we're
stupid
hearing
not
it
to
that way.
use.
Yeah.
You would be stupid not to use Tom Brady as a marketing tool, and then you got potential coaches coming from whoever. Tom Brady takes you out to lunch or dinner at the Palms or whatever in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a guy you might want to say, "Oh, he knows how to scout talent. He's Super Bowl winning." So, yeah,
And to confirm that, a recent Michigan football signee, Mr. Underwood, received a phone call pre-decision from a Mr. Brady.
He might have a little bit of convincing in his
know,
words.
when
I mean, he can't read a teleprompter for shit, but Tom Brady can definitely
You got-
can start a conversation with the words that come out of his mouth, whether or
You got
not he
quite a-
stutters or not.
Hell yeah, you got quite a few transfers that went to Colorado just because of the singers that were coming to the sidelines, right? And there was a few other
Mhm.
things with players, but mostly the singers and big names coming in the locker room.
Speaking of coming to that, I heard Shadur and Travis Hunter are not going to be at the NFL Draft Combine. They're not going to be. Well, they might be at the Combine, but they're not going to be at Lambeau. They're not going to be at Green Bay for the draft.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I heard. I guess they want to hang out.
yeah, that
in college. But do you think if he's the number one pick, that's kind of weird that you're not there?
No, it tells me he's not going to be the number one pick.
Well,
and,
all right.
Yeah, I don't think-
I hear you, but who is the
Yeah.
last person who was picked? I know in the NBA it's happened because the guy was from Europe or something.
Yeah.
But when was the last
Yeah.
NFL number one draft pick who wasn't there to meet and shake hands with Roger Goodell and have his name called? I can't remember off the top of my head.
No, I agree.
number
I'm
one
sure-
pick.
I can believe it's happened before. I just don't know who it would be.
Dude, I wonder how much my camera is picking up me looking at that green bar going back and forth, back and forth.
Oh, do you want that bar gone? I like it's a
No, it's
distraction.
good. No, it's good. Keep it there. I just kind of like looked quickly and I noticed that my eyes were
It's
like,
to keep the focus on the screen, Charles. So you're looking up
Yeah,
at the
dude,
camera.
I love
all the
it.
time.
It works. It works.
All right, if we can talk about our fantasy football league, how things are going to go forward.
Yes.
Welcome, Charles. Congratulations on another victorious season.
Thank you. Thank you. Take the prize money and put it into next season.
You want to do that for yours? Okay.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
Well, I was
Yeah.
going to do that with mine. What I want to do though is I want to give everybody the opportunity that I'm going to pay everybody out, and I want them to do what I want you guys to do with your money, whatever you want with your money. But what I want you to do is I want you to make sure that you let me know, Mike. I'm going to make that card, right? The sports card.
Yeah.
It's gonna have your place, and it's gonna have a 5th place trophy on it. Paul's gonna have a 4th place trophy. Brad's gonna have a 3rd place trophy. I want the top 5. We're gonna make sports cards. By the time this is all said and done, we're gonna have a damn pack of cards, and we're gonna rip it live on the freaking show within a couple of years here.
Hell yeah.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Hell
So
yeah.
you got to. I'm just saying, you got to send me a selfie so we can get this. Wear your jersey, do something, so we can get these pictures rolling for the sports cards that I'm gonna have made.
All right.
Hell yeah, perfect. I got a brand new Kelly Green Saquon on the way.
I have a green jersey on right now, and unfortunately, God rest his soul, Paul is not here today. But I was
God rest his
I
soul.
was wearing this just for him because we're going to be retiring a legend today on the show. Apparently, he wants to come back, but I don't think he is coming back, and he definitely ain't coming back when this jersey ended up only costing me like $17 on Fanatics.
Yeah.
I told you guys about
Yeah.
this. Yeah,
Yeah.
his jersey sales have gone. This is an authentic Nike
Pay
Aaron
per
Rodgers
fusion, whatever.
game jersey. Yeah, there's no
Wow.
way
What
this should have
happens when
been
you-
like under
That's what happens when you
$80.
piss off New York, bro.
Yeah.
Hey man,
I should get one though. I should get one because
Oh, you should.
I'm gonna get one. I'm
I'm a Packer fan. I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan.
Yes.
I'm
Listen.
not like Paul. I don't say the F you to him all the time.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
I wore it
season's-
for humor more than I did for actually.
The
wanna wear
season's
it.
over. He's not playing against us potentially
Right.
anymore. So hell yeah. Good job, Aaron Rodgers. That's how football goes.
Hey, you know what? He did get his 500th touchdown, and if that was
Yeah,
the last
yeah,
game,
yeah.
it was an okay football game. He went
It's
out
Tyler
victorious.
Conklin. Yeah,
It's a Tyler Conklin. Yeah.
Yeah. What a
He had an
disappointing pick
okay
he
year
was
st-
last year.
he had an okay year statistically too. It just that organization. I mean, from owner to GM to head,
The rest
it
of
was
the
a
offense was trash. I mean,
So,
it wasn't really.
bro. It was a dumpster fire. And then as soon as they fired Salah, their defense went from top 10 to like bottom 2.
Bottom 2. Yeah, and talking about firings, so the Jets have pretty much
Clean
released
house. It's pretty much
everyone. Yeah. So from my understanding with the Jets, Mike Tannenbaum is also involved in the hiring process, which is like a huge full circle moment because he was the GM for the Jets and around the time Rex was one of the coaches, and arguably probably around the time one of the last times the Jets were relevant in the AFC. I mean, because you go back 10 years and there's nothing. 10 seasons right now. I believe it's like Buffalo. I mean, I'm not even 10 seasons. I'm talking go back to 2010. You go back to 2010, that whole division is literally Buffalo,
Pats.
fucking Patriots.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, it was dominated for years.
Yeah. So it's probably it's probably a little bit more writing on the wall here with the Jets with Woody, because I agree. I think it's an absolutely ridiculous organization. I think they're a laughing stock. I do believe that this is a football gods thing, just as much as I believe the injuries to the Detroit Lions are for them laughing at the football gods. And I mean, they just continue to, so we'll see how this ends. But the Jets buying that Super Bowl seriously has put this.
You think
curse.
that's like a curse? That's got to be like a
Yes.
curse for them, correct?
Absolutely. And I don't think you can just fill a bathtub full of bourbon on the goal line to get
Oh,
this
God,
one
no.
dune. Sorry, Jeff. I don't think this one's going to break it, right? Like you.
That's funny.
I don't think there's a draft pick they can make either that's going to be that big of a splash. Even if they were to move up in the draft and get
No,
somebody,
because they
where
started winning
people would be
games
excited.
too.
Yeah,
Like-
They have too many needs. Like they need to rebuild their O-line. It's trash. They need a new quarterback. Once Devontae Adams leaves, they need at least one other wide receiver.
Well, did Garrett Wilson really say that if Aaron Rodgers comes back, he wants to be traded, or was that speculation?
No, he said that.
He really said that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody, none of
blame
the.
We said the moment Devontae Adams got there, Garrett Wilson's career was going to go south.
Yeah.
And now Devontae Adams doesn't have a home next year.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And honestly, I don't know if it's worth. I don't know if a Super Bowl contender would pick him up next year.
Yes.
Here's a question, a valid question. I was thinking about this. This is a question for you. Is there any other NFL team outside of maybe Philly's got a 1 and a 1A and a 1B? But is there really room for any NFL team to have 2 number ones? Because with Puka Nacua taking over for the Rams, I mean, it doesn't seem like Cooper Kupp has the opportunities or he's not making the best of his opportunities. What other team is there that has like a 1A, 1B wide receiver?
You know what I think it
I mean,
is?
T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, they're close, right?
Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison too.
Are they they're one? I mean, they're both all pros, right? Did they both make the Pro Bowl?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's probably next to them and Philly are the only two teams I can really think of.
Well, there was a lot of
Yeah.
injuries
Jamar
too.
Chase
I mean, because you
and
think
T.
like
Higgins too, yeah.
you think last year we were talking Brandon Ayuk and Debo Samuel.
Right. It just seems like it doesn't last for more than a couple seasons, and then all of a sudden,
Right.
Well,
that player
the
wants
big
out.
difference is if you look at the three teams that we're talking about, the Bengals, the Vikings, the Eagles, right? Their wide receiver 1 and their wide receiver 2 are within 2 years of each other, right? So
Yeah.
there's not this ginormous age gap. When you're
Tyreek Hill,
talking about
Jalen
the
Waddle.
there's a like 7 or 8 year age gap there. There's Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson type of age gap. So I think when you're that big of an age gap in the receiver room, sometimes I don't think it connects the way it should. Devontae Adams is a product of thinking he's better than he still is and coming to a shithole organization midseason.
Oh, he made the wrong move. He was better in Vegas than he was when he moved to the
Oh
Jets.
yeah,
Vegas got better the moment they traded him.
I know. It's crazy. Well, it's because Bowers became an absolute number one monster for him
So
at tight end. So
not tanking got Gerard Mayo and Antonio Pierce fired, correct? Like
Yeah.
we're
Absolutely.
comfortable saying that out loud.
Yeah.
That's a pretty valid point.
Yeah, because what else got them
Because
fired?
how do you fire? You fire the guy that you handpicked us to see Bill Belichick after 1 year of. It's not like they went 3-13. The Patriots had an okay season with a rookie quarterback who has 0 receivers.
I think Mike
Yeah.
Vrabel interviewed with the Jets, came out and said it was a really, really great interview. And I believe within less than 48 hours, I believe it was an hour, but I'm going to say 48 hours, Gerard was fired.
Interesting.
So
Pats got scared.
Mike used the Jets to get where he wanted and why he didn't take anything last year or this year, whereas instead now taking for next season. Because I think he wanted the Patriots.
Yeah.
I think it was Patriots or bust for him at that point.
Yeah, and I think they've got like the number 2 draft pick, so he's going into a really good situation. You don't have to waste any capital on a quarterback. Drake May looks good. You've got to get receivers, you've got to get O-line help, but the defense looked okay. I mean, New England has base pieces, so Vrabel's in a good place to start. And
Well, I mean, they've got a quarterback. Drake May is their future
Yeah.
for sure. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
they immediately. Hey, welcome back.
Wrong button. I clicked on the link and the link to go to the rookie thing, and it brought me off a different page. All right, yeah.
Welcome back, though. So, I mean, they've got the quarterback figured out. They arguably had a very low ceiling until Drake came in, and then once Drake started playing, I just don't understand where because
Joe
don't
Milton
ever
doesn't
want-
seem like he's a terrible backup either.
No, Milton.
I mean-
Milton's probably going to get.
I mean,
Milton's gonna get a
Joe
chance
Milton.
somewhere.
If Joe Milton could fix his accuracy, Joe Milton would be a starting quarterback in the NFL because he is a absolutely physically gifted human being. The guy is a monster. He's built like a freaking.
I just hope
Boxer.
I just hope the Anthony Richardson situation doesn't go to his head.
I don't think he doesn't take off and run though.
Well, no, I'm just saying
He likes to throw it.
I think Milton would be better than Anthony.
Oh, he would be. He was.
yeah.
Oh, Milton was better in college than Anthony Richardson. When he was with Tennessee was a top 5 team.
Didn't he break his leg or something?
He
Break
did
his arm
something.
or something happened. He ended up with an injury, didn't he?
He did. He injured against Alabama or Georgia in a game. I think he got sacked or he was running and he got rolled over or something. Yeah, something happened to him. But it wasn't like, oh my God, his career is over type injury because he obviously got drafted.
Yeah.
Speaking of a guy that we haven't heard of, what happened to Jordan Travis's career? Is he coming back? Is he going to play? I mean, did he play at all this
Who
season?
is George Travis was at Colorado too?
No, Jordan Travis was the quarterback for the Florida State Seminoles. He got
Oh, he was-
drafted.
he
He
was-
tore his
Oh, who
he tore
snapped
his
his leg or
ACL.
something? Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't know if he played this year at all because the last two games the rookies got in quite a bit for a lot of these teams, and I
I
knew
don't
he-
think so, but
I
it,
mean, we'll
they
we'll
probably
see
gave
him.
him like another year of
Glad you said
eligibility.
that. We will see him this preseason. We will see him this preseason.
yeah, because I don't know who he plays for. He got drafted. I don't know who he plays for. He was a fifth-year senior.
Oh, I didn't even know he got drafted.
Yeah, he got drafted. Well, the reason nobody knows he got drafted is because had he not gotten injured, Florida State actually looked decent in the bowl game instead of getting blown out by like 50.
And
He
Yeah,
might have
he
been a
got-
top 10 pick.
He's the
PS,
him getting injured was the only reason they didn't make the playoffs last year, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what? You know what's got me questioning the world right now?
What's this?
Oh,
Why was everyone just simply okay with Georgia going to the playoffs when their quarterback was hurt?
Well, because
Which
Georgia,
is the exact
Georgia ma-
reason why you didn't let Florida State go in.
Well,
Florida State
you-
had a pretty decent defense.
if there had only been Charles, if there was only 4 teams, Georgia wouldn't have made it.
Well, no, I get that.
If there's 12 teams, though,
But there was a bunch of bubble teams. My point with this is and then the SEC went and got smacked in all their bowl games.
Well,
I think
'cause I
there
don't-
was a lingering SEC bias that linked over because I'm telling you this fucking situation is the exact same with Florida
Well,
State and Georgia.
well,
the
yeah,
difference
but
is the bowl game
Eh.
meant more to that Georgia team. So 63 players didn't sit down.
I don't know. I think Florida State's backup is Boo Boo Trash too. So I think
Yeah,
he was
no,
like a
no.
Yeah,
three-star
that's-
quarterback. So
I
mean,
agree with you. I agree
big
with
difference.
you.
Yeah,
Wait, no,
you
dude,
got another. You got
just-
another 5-star that's going to start next year for Georgia. That just
Yeah.
needs the opportunity compared to because he did the quarterback for Georgia looked pretty damn good in the bowl game. Outside of losing, I mean, he made some pretty good throws.
I think it's safe to. This will literally be the first time I've ever said this out loud, but I really am starting to get the feeling like SEC era is over of just dominating college football.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
been. I think it's been over the last 2 years.
Well,
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's like the way the SEC got just fisted in the playoffs this year. It's like, oh my god, since I've been watching college
I mean-
football, it's never happened. The SEC has been the powerhouse conference: Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Florida.
Do you know
Those are-
another thing I think that's coming into fruition now because of this NIL and transfer? I think weather is playing a significant role. I want to show that I can play in that weather. I don't want to shy away from it because come draft time, you're noticing that a lot of these players aren't being drafted in a position they could because of how they performed specifically on like a cold day
Well,
Cold
right.
weather
and
games,
Do
yeah.
you want
when
me
they
to
were
give
17 or some shit.
you want me to give you the reason why the NCAA is like everybody's pissed about the seeding thing? I'm going to give you the 4 numbers.
Yeah.
It's 5, 6, 7, and 8 are the seeds
Yeah,
that
oh,
made
yeah,
the Final
yeah.
Four. Not one number 1, not a number 2,
Well,
not a number
every
3,
team
not
that
a
had
number
bye
4 seed.
lost, dude.
Yeah,
Every
everybody who
team
had a
that
bye, well, they lost the
Like,
following week. Yeah.
how-
That's so crazy.
How does the bye team not have
Get
a
worse.
home game? How does the team that got a bye
Well, because
not have a home game?
here's the thing. Why do they have to pump up the freaking Outback, all these other venues?
Well, that was the only way they could switch it because of marketing and money and all this
Well,
shit.
all right, here's one. Did you hear about this? So the Pac-12 has a contract with the Rose Bowl. The 2 teams that are left in the Pac-12 got paid $100 million because of the pact of the Rose Bowl. There's only 2 teams left. They split $100 million between 2 teams. What was it? Oregon State and freaking who was the other one left? Arizona State.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Hey, man.
that's wild. So they made out with $100 million. So who's laughing? those two teams are laughing now. $100 million they got split.
So they probably have a few more of those things, which is why the Pac-12 didn't completely absolve.
Well, they have
and
to
was given
absolve.
a chance.
They have to absolve next season, though. I believe they're done. They're all joining new conferences, correct? Or are they
Which
building
would
a
make
new-
sense because
No. People are joining the Pac-12 next year.
Well, that must be why they want to share the money then, because of the
Oh,
Rose Bowl.
yeah, that's why. Oh, there's probably that's why I just
Ah.
said there's probably more of those. I mean that and media. I mean, all of the Pac-12 media just got split between two to five teams, however many there are left. All of
yeah,
that
because
media
doesn't the
money.
Pac-12 has its own network, right? On
Yeah.
Oh,
but They only guaranteed. The problem is they guaranteed all those teams that left a bunch of money to join the SEC, the Big 12, all that, Big 10. So they're not losing out on any of that money, but they're also not gaining any of the Pac-12 money either. So obviously it was a
Well,
it
no,
was a-
they're made. No,
flip-flop.
now let's be honest. Big 10 media is way more money than Pac-12 media,
Mhm.
regardless. Only, and you can argue any way you want, but in my mind, the only reason for that is 2/3 of the country is asleep before the other third gets off work.
Mhm.
So you're like, very rarely do I even catch like a Lakers Golden State game, right? Or like a UCLA USC. I haven't watched a USC UCLA game in 10 years, dude.
Can I tell you? All right, you want the numbers from the last time that it was audited in 23?
Of course.
$3.5 billion for the fiscal year. That's the entire. That's all the conference, the Big Five conferences. That's only the Big Five. I don't think they count the other ones for some
Right.
godforsaken reason. All right, the Big Ten led all revenue. It's not a big surprise, but I guess it's a big surprise in 23 that they led all of the college football because it was 879 million to 852 for the SEC. The ACC saw a big increase from 617 to 707 million. The Pac-12 rounded it out.
God.
With 603.9 million, and then the Big 12 was fifth with 510 million. And you got to remember, these are not just ticket sales. This is media rights. These are TV games, commercial money. It's all that.
So you're talking 300 million more, and then you added names
300 million
like,
more from the worst team to the best team.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like the Big Ten is almost 300 million more
And
than
that
the
was
Pac-12.
and Charles, that was before the expansion of USC.
Right.
And
And
all
that
these
was
teams.
I was
now
just going to say. So now you added names like USC.
It's got to be well over $1 billion now.
Washington. Yeah, dude. So the money there. So I mean, even if there's 16 teams, you're splitting $1 billion 16 fucking ways.
And
man.
now
Like,
with all eyes
that's
on
still
Ohio
way
State
more.
and Penn State, can you imagine an Ohio State Penn State national championship game? It's four. There's two Big Ten teams in it. Both of them make the national championship. Every round,
Guaranteed Big Ten.
they get
money.
guaranteed more money. Guaranteed more Big Ten money.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, because as it goes, it's a Big Ten split. This just makes way too much sense because Big Ten teams are getting a split of this playoff money.
Yeah.
As long
At
as
the end
they're
of the
there.
year, yeah. And that helps them build, and they're supposed to use it for facilities and player
Absolutely.
management, player
Yeah.
recruitment is part of it, NIL, all that.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a huge win-win. It really is. It's upsetting for a lot of your hardcore old style fans. I get that. I do. Your team isn't going to be hella dominant anymore for 23 straight fucking years. Boo-hoo.
No more Alabamas.
It's it's just like
Oh God, no more Alabamas.
It's
There
just
will-
like the NFL Super Bowl, right?
Charles, there might never be another NCAA team that wins more than a back-to-back. There's never going to be a back-to-back-to-back champion. I can almost guarantee that's never going to happen in the NCAA.
Does that
What's-
if that's
Maybe in
true,
basketball, not in football.
What's more shocking is how shocked you sound saying that.
Well, the reason I'm shocked saying it is because it's just
me,
because
to me
players
personally.
move so much. Players aren't going to stick around.
Well, why, yeah,
Not
why-
more than 1 or 2 seasons. Matter of fact, if you can redshirt, literally, you can lose a year of eligibility and still make $2.5-3 million like Arch Manning did.
There's
I
two
mean,
sides to this coin, though.
why would you even play until your
Well,
sophomore
there's-
season?
But there's two sides to the coin, though. I mean, because you can play for 17 and a half years in college football now. So, I mean,
Well, I told you this. The NCAA is reevaluating this because of all the complaints and all the players. That dude was crying that played like 9 seasons for like Oregon, the tight end or whatever. He was balling on the field like his career was
Miami or some
over.
shit.
The dude had like you had 8 other years of opportunity to like make a name for yourself, and you didn't do it. So
Yeah,
sorry, bud.
I don't understand this 8,000 years of eligibility that they're giving kids now. Like, bitch, you are 26 and a half years old.
You tweak
got
an ankle, and you're allowed
You
to
got 8 kids.
reapply.
All you have to, you're gonna tweak your back, changing your
There's a
kid's diaper
41
before you get to the
wasn't there
NFL.
a 41-year-old kicker this year, or like a 35, 37-year-old kicker this year, 32?
Oh, did you hear about UW?
41, 32.
All right, so
Jesus.
did you hear about this story?
What's
All
that?
right, UWGB has got what Doug Gottlieb
Yeah.
is
Yep.
the head
Doug-
coach, right? All right, so
Yeah.
Doug Gottlieb, he got called out. There's memes, there's jokes all about it. He called Michigan Tech nothing you, and Michigan Tech
And it
went
got
into
his ass whooped.
UWGB and they beat him like a D3 school or something. It's up in the UP. It's up in Houghton, Hancock. Well, anyway, Doug Gottlieb went out and got this this transfer guy, and I believe he's like 28, 29 years old. He was a semi-pro or a professional basketball player. Well, anyway, he's on the team, and the NCAA granted him eligibility, so he's actually playing for them. He's not very good. I think he had 4 or 5 points the other night. And but people are like, what's a 28-year-old freshman doing playing when he played professional basketball over in like France or Europe or something? That doesn't even make sense. If you were a professional, you shouldn't even allow to be playing in college
In
basketball.
college, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you were a professional, like deemed. You had just like we have credentials. They had cards and all this other stuff, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, we're gonna have this in college football because people are gonna go. I can go in Canada and go right from high school and play in the CFL, and then go.
Everybody's
play
gonna
college
try.
football. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm saying, but that's the
Yeah.
next step in all of this.
People are always going to try to find the way to
The
get their
loopholes, yeah.
glory the easiest way they can. Because there are a lot of NBA players who played professionally in Europe. Like the European players who came over had whole ass professional careers in Europe before they came over to the NBA. But again, like you're saying, that's professional to a professional. That's a lateral transfer. That's not going from professional to a college
that's
level.
what the whole
Yeah.
G League is for.
Yeah.
And I believe college football is going to be that stepping stone into the NFL. Like, players are literally going to go to college now and not try to play until their sophomore season because they're going to get paid like they're on the IR.
That's what
until
they're
they get
doing
to
with
that
the
point.
UFL.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean, it's not a bad
UFL is going to
thing.
be their G League.
Yeah, that's why they came together. I don't know.
It's smart.
I see it completely different, to be honest with you. If you're gonna get yours, get yours. Hell yeah.
No,
If you're not good enough to be in the NFL, you're not good enough to be in the NFL.
Well,
Most
no,
of them are gonna
I
end
say-
up
Yeah,
being
and-
fucking
and-
all these
used
guys are going to
car-
get paid. Good for them. I mean,
yeah,
whatever.
they're gonna end up being used fucking car salesmen anyways,
Well,
or high school coaches or fucking.
or real estate.
Well, shit,
Yeah.
with the goddamn NIL deal. With the NIL deal, even the
I know what
fucking-
you're saying. I know what you're saying, but and again too, you're like, you're playing fucking professional ball in Europe, and I'm like, it's fucking amateur ball, man. It's fucking Europe. They've had a couple good people come out of there, like fucking Wemby and shit, right? But like Wemby
Well,
was a god over there, and he's good. I mean, he's good, but like it's taken.
But he's
him a
not
while
used to
It's taken a
Yeah.
while to get used to the NBA, right? So
European.
I think our college basketball is way more competitive than European basketball. I mean,
Well,
the
I think-
crowds get crazy. Yeah, that's cool. Jump up and down and shit. They do that in soccer too. But
Yeah, but
we
European
say this,
basketball
we
is-
struggled to beat them in the fucking Olympics for how many years? I mean, it's obviously
Yeah, but
got
we
a
were-
lot better.
we had a bunch
UST
of fat old guys out there.
Yeah, I was about to say,
It was young
Team
guys.
Team US was not fielding the best players until that
Right.
Kobe Bryant running through Pau
And we
Gasol's
didn't
chest.
have, and it wasn't Team Europe beating our ass. It was literally professional
Fame.
basketball players
Yeah.
with a couple farmers, right? I mean,
But I think the difference too is if you watch European basketball versus American basketball, American basketball, you have guys who are 280 like Zion or LeBron who will put their fucking entire mass into your face. The European leagues aren't like that. They're much more finesse game. They're much more shooting layups, kind of
Well, you
acrobatic.
dribble wrong, you get a foul. They actually call traveling over there, which is impressive.
Yeah.
Whereas here, you can essentially elbow somebody in the meta world piece somebody, and you're fine. You just get a tech.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause I
That's
don't, I
right.
Just two
don't, I
different
don't, I
games.
don't disagree with you. It's just the, I, I guess the other way I look at it too, like, is I'm never going to see a 28-year-old person playing for Michigan. So I don't think that I guess it just doesn't really affect me. And I don't think a team with a 28-year-old on it is ever really going to beat Michigan. Like
Well,
I
no,
just
it's nothing to do with that. It's just that what's his
Right.
do with gray hair out there doing playing?
Yeah.
Why is he going in as an incoming freshman? I think is
Yeah,
more
I
of the
mean,
problem.
for the most part, it looks like
You
the
know.
90s movies replacement.
Actually,
out there.
you know what?
Like, there's nothing
I-
stopping
I-
me from going and playing D1 football if I was good enough at my age. Doesn't because I still have eligibility left.
Right.
I didn't play professional.
Well, there's
You know?
the last time I can
Yeah.
remember something like this happening
It's
on
kinda
a
weird,
big
but-
stage
Why?
is there was a former Green Beret named Nate Boyer
Yeah.
who got back from Afghanistan and went and walked on at Texas as a kicker. And
Yeah,
I think
I
he was
can
like
see a kicker,
35
punter.
or 36.
That fucker can be 100 years old if he's a kicker or punter. I don't care if you can boot the ball. You can boot the ball.
That was that
Yeah.
30-some-year-old with 4 kids.
But like you said, I
Yeah.
don't want to see a 47-year-old
Tight end.
with a fucking peg leg out there trying to catch the rock.
See,
you know?
but I mean, the
You know what I'm
kicker
saying.
is.
I'm
I
not-
know what I know
I'm
what
trying
I know
to
what
be
you're
mean
saying,
about
but
it,
but
but-
on that extreme, like you're not going to see some 30-year-old tight end out there playing fuck college football.
Well,
Like,
I mean, we
18
pretty
and
much
19-year-olds.
almost are. We pretty much
not
almost
pretty
are with
much,
that
not
dude.
almost are, right? 26 years old is a hell of a lot different. There's way far. Like his career's over, right? Listen, I'm on the same page. I'm just saying, like, who did he even play for? I think Miami.
He played for Miami. And he played. The last team he played for was Oregon.
Oh, yeah, so it's the fucking dude. It's literally, I've never watched him play in my life.
Well, I'm sure you watched him play.
Well, I'm sure he was on the bench somewhere with a
No,
red
I think
shirt.
he's still
or
playing
hurt.
right now. He's still playing.
I can't.
Well-
But that's so fucking crazy to me. Like, I hated college. I hated being in college. I hated the kids in college. Like,
Well,
I can't imagine.
I'm not against a player trying to extend his career if he's going to go play professionally, but the guy that's trying to live out his dream and he's trying to extend it by taking a scholarship away from an 18-year-old kid just so that he can have a little more clout in his career
Yeah.
and then not accomplish anything.
Maybe that
Pisses-
18-year-old kid
that
needs to be
pisses
a
me
little
off.
better, because if you're losing a fucking scholarship to a 28-year-old has-been, that's more about the fucking 18-year-old than the
Wow.
28-year-old.
Well, the problem is a lot of
There's-
these guys
there's
once they're
truth to
granted the ability to transfer, a school will look at leadership. The guy's played this many snaps, this many years. He knows how to read a playbook versus a incoming freshman where you got to teach him everything. That's the only advantage I believe that somebody like that would have.
Whatever.
Yeah, but that's not a guy you would ever.
Again, I don't give a if that 18-year-old runs a 4.7 and that 26-year-old's running a 5.1. I'm taking the 18-year-old. I don't give a fuck if he knows how to read or not. I'll show
Yeah,
you how to fucking run, dude.
All right.
I just. I kind of agree with Chucky on that one, just because, like,
I give a fuck, dude. You
All
know,
right,
fuck.
I just want to tell you something right now. The guy
Yeah.
Cam McCormick was in the same recruiting class. You ready for it?
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts,
Hey, it's not how long it takes you to get there as long as you're on the same mountaintop.
and he's still playing college football.
Sometimes
was it-
you're on the back of the line to see Mount Everest on a good weather day. That's
Was it
300
Bo-
people.
is it Bo Nix that played against Joe Burrow in college?
I believe so.
Yeah. Bo
Uh,
Nix, a 28-year-old freshman.
So Virginia's got it. Virginia has a kicker, 34 years old. Colorado State's kicker is 32.
That's the guy I was thinking about.
East Carolina's 31-year-old.
Kicker.
Punter.
Yep. Kickers.
Illinois.
but
Illinois is a 30-year-old. The punters and kickers, that's nothing new because obviously, let's be honest.
It's not the
Hansen
same.
probably could have kicked till he was 60.
Crosby's still kicking that football.
Well, Crosby's not that old. He's like 44, 45. But I'm saying Hansen for the Lions. That dude was like 50 and he was still booting the ball.
Tucker's going to be
Tucker's going to be
95.
old.
Well,
Tucker,
shit, wasn't
Tucker, they're going to force Tucker out because he's starting to slip.
He's
his
going to get the
accuracy.
Crosby treatment next year.
He's going to get the Crosby kick out.
Earn
Yeah.
it or
The dude
lose
from,
it contract.
Yeah.
the dude from the Colts? Wasn't Vinatieri like 40 or 41 when he stopped?
Yeah, I think he was
Oh,
509.
when he signed with the Patriots? Yeah.
Yeah.
He was old. Yeah.
He was
'cause
like 40.
'cause he won all of the Super Bowls with the Patriots and then went and fucked off with whoever else. Who was it? Was it at the end?
The Colts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe he
7,000
was.
teams.
Then I believe he was on a fucking yacht the last day with Gronkowski, and they're passing that Super Bowl trophy around. And Vinatieri, he told Gronk or Brady, you're gonna drop it in the ocean or whatever, and he almost did. That was
Get to the goddamn
that was that video, yeah.
Didn't
fucking
think about
Gronkowski playing baseball with the Lombardi. Idiot.
These guys are crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
it.
That's
It
funny.
is what it is. So, did we? So we're gonna go to wrap up the fantasy. To wrap up the fantasy conversation, we're
Yep.
moving to a
We're gonna move to a keeper league in the fantasy
league.
league this next year.
Yep. So that'll be exciting. So just keep. We're all in the group chat. So if you're planning on stay in the group chat, and information will be dropped down as time goes forward. This will be very exciting. We'll get all of the things straightened out as the time goes forward. Anything else you guys wanted to add on the fantasy?
We're moving to a different app, right? It's not the Yahoo app anymore.
No.
right?
We're
Or the
moving.
ESPN app.
I think we're moving to whatever Paul was speaking.
I think it's Sleeper.
Sleeper, I
Yeah.
believe.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. And then, did you have some statistics you wanted to give out real quick from our fantasy league?
Oh yeah. Let me get it
Yeah,
up here.
why don't-
Fantasy.
Of course, the
Home.
champion would ask about statistics.
All right, statistics. Yes. You let me in.
Hello, let me in. Hello. I think I had a toy back when I was a child that did that. You'd be shocked, but it was in a box.
You talking about that?
No, it was literally a
Oh.
hello.
Oh,
hello,
really?
Let me out. Let me out.
That's creepy.
Yeah. That's so
All
sick.
right. So fantasy football
All right.
statistics.
All right.
Standings. Obviously, Charles. Charles overall took the number one spot here with fantasy points, 1,825 fantasy points. Jonathan Pepin, which is the one I believe that between you and Paul, you guys are, or Paul is back behind me. Mike, you and Jonathan were 4.9 points away from each other for second place in fantasy points.
Yeah.
You average 122.8 a game. Charles averaged 130.4. I mean, it's really hard to argue who the best team in the league is or was this past season. I mean, everybody averaged over 100 points a game, though. That makes it,
Which is fantastic.
yeah, that's pretty good
Yeah.
for a fantasy
So
league.
it wasn't. I mean, 4 or 5 of my wins were all within 3 points, which last year those were losses.
The more
Yeah, I
impressive-
think you beat me. You beat me when we faced off by like 1.9 points or something. Like that.
Yeah.
Now here's the stat where it gets fucking wild, guys. So there was only 4 teams that had a losing point differential. Duke,
Yeah.
Evan, Hunter, and Brent. And obviously injuries played a lot for those guys. But there was 3 teams with losing records that had positive point differential.
Positive.
And that has to do with the schedules being very difficult. Now, I would like moving forward, if we do a keeper league, to be able to draft up more competitive schedules instead of letting
Yes.
the computer do it, because I don't think the computer understands what player is good, what team's good, and then we can make this a lot more even across
Absolutely,
the board,
yeah.
and that way it's more fun too. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I will look at that because I had to score 1,800 points.
you had
to.
1,825 fantasy points, average 130.4 a game, average win differential of 14.5 points. Jonathan was right on your heels with 13.9.
Which is so crazy that he ended up in like 7th place.
If you want to talk about schedules, Mike and Brad played the two toughest schedules. Their ranking was like a 12.9 out of 15. Charles was 4th with 11.9 or 11.9. Like I said, I was 11th out of 12th, easiest schedule. So, like I said, I go 12-2 on the season and somehow just shit the bed in the playoffs and the championship game. Well, there's a reason for it. Usually that's how it goes. But and I don't think we don't need to play that last week. I was talking to Charles about this. He would have had the league wrapped up the week before that, regardless. So playing those last 2 weeks kind of like is null and void because you're going to have teams where there's not even enough players to take off. Charles is telling me off the waiver wire who to pick up, like because he's like, I don't want you to have a zero, like because it's just not fun. And I was like, well, I picked up his backup, but I didn't even know he was. And that was the other thing. They didn't even declare the guy out until it was like 20 minutes before kickoff, which is kind of effed up at this point in the season,
Yeah, I took a play out of the old 49ers.
Yeah, but
Do
I mean,
look like Dr. Robotnik. Do you think I could pull the Doc Robotnik?
yeah, you get some that whiskered wax, and you can do that.
I'm going to.
Yeah, if you go mustache only, you could.
Yeah, it goes up to my eyeballs.
Yeah, and then you could wear the shades.
All right, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt that. Yeah,
I like it. It's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's entertaining.
Yeah, I'm gonna fuck greased up that guy.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And the other stat I wanted to bring up was
don't forget your vitamins.
So check this out, Charles.
Yes, sir.
Regardless of what your record was,
yes,
you led the league in division. 7-1. 6-1 at home. 5-2 on the road.
Yeah. Fucking Hunter,
the person who ended the season, the only reason that I made it as far as I did, I had a 7-game win streak at the end of the season.
That was fantastic, dude.
Yeah.
That was so, and it was really, you had a win streak to end the season. PR, I think, had a win streak to end the season. Needed it.
Here's another cool one. Fantasy moves.
Yeah.
Ad drops. Adam led the league with 30. Charles had 28. I had 24. Brad 24. John 23. Joey more active than he usually is. 21. Yeah. Paul with 20. Brent with 17. Duke with 16. Mike, you had 13. With having the team that you had and only having 13 moves, like that's pretty impressive. It means your draft was very good. The only kicker, Hunter had 0 moves the entire season. I don't even know how that's possible, but
that's when I started the podcast. I was like, dude doesn't even know how to talk, but he loves watching it. So we hope he's back next year. You learn it. This is how I learned. This is.
Being in the heat of it is how you learn.
Mm-hmm.
We do have to send you a T-shirt though, and you have to take a picture in it. So.
Oh, we've got to find you guys find something for me to send them, and we'll send it to him.
I definitely will.
We should get he's a comedian, so I bet you we can get him wear one of them weird onesies
on a show.
Let's say I suck at fantasy football. Mike's over here like, I don't want to see that. No, we don't want to see that, but it's entertainment.
I think we all want to see.
Oh yeah,
no, I absolutely want to see a grown ass man in a onesie on a podcast.
I do, but I don't want to see below.
No.
We're talking
you keep
camera.
Keep that camera.
We're talking. We don't
just level it above. Yeah.
So fantastic, and congratulations, Charles, to be the first back-to-back champion in our league. That's fantastic. I knew it was going to be a special season. I felt it. Felt it like it was in my neck. When I woke up that day, actually, I had a dream the night before. And in this dream, I was slithering through the clouds on top of a duck's body with a snake's head. And what that told me was it was going to be a slippery slope, but I was going to float into victory. And I woke up happy. So I just wanted to.
What movie is that? Is that
Grandma's
Grandma's Boy where it says, "Go fly with the seabirds" or whatever, Mister?
Mr. Cecil,
Mr.
where the
Cecil?
fuck did you get your weed? From you, Dante. Oh yeah.
I was like, hold on, where's that from? Or are they putting something in my dabs that I don't know about?
You can get past a monkey. Nobody fucks with a lion.
Oh my god, Grandma's Boy is my favorite.
Yeah,
I love
you
that
gotta watch
fucking
that.
movie.
Just
so much.
reinvent the
so
wheel,
much.
Charles. With that,
I was just the reason that came up. I was just watching a cast with somebody had Nick Swartzen on.
Yeah.
Dude.
Dude, I didn't
Turns
realize
out
he's that
his-
big of a Vikings fan. Holy
His are you
huge.
talking about how his grandma saw the movie and she wasn't supposed to?
Yeah, my grandma. His grandma goes to the movie there because sees his grandma's boy and thinks that he made a movie for him, and she just rolled into the movie theater but walks the out.
Yeah, he definitely
Pissed
did not.
off.
No, yeah,
Definitely
we got a
did
problem.
not make a grandma movie.
Grandma saw your movie. What? Who the? Let her see it.
How did you know it was there?
That's so funny.
That's amazing. I love that
Turned
movie
this
so
beard
much.
up. Holy cow!
I love that movie so
Oh,
much.
it's a very good movie.
Dante is my favorite person in the history of the world.
Oh, yeah.
Like he
I've been
reminds
calling
me
you
of
all
the
day.
dude.
Why didn't you answer your phone? I've been putting up my fucking Christmas tree.
Yeah, why are you wearing any pants?
Why aren't you wearing any pants? It's fucking July. Is it? Get
What
out.
is that? He was talking about smoking shit that made him grow antlers and become a
Mhm.
deer. Like,
Yeah, and
careful.
the old lady's in the house,
Careful,
and she's
kid.
just like, "My antlers."
oh my god, they're
I
fucking
can hear my hair growing.
Linda Cardellini's in that movie. Fucking
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Oh, I love that movie so much.
You take
Yeah.
us
Man.
to Antiques Roadshow.
The first place I ever saw that was in Afghanistan.
Where do you get all your clothes? The Matrix. all right.
keep-
Robot legs.
All right.
We
This
keep
is
quoting Grandma's Boy.
off-season.
We're all gonna get.
This is off-season football chatter. That's what we're
Oh,
gonna
no,
do.
no,
we're-
We'll have.
No, actually, that's gonna be something we're gonna bring up. We might as well bring it up now. We bring it up. We'll do movie reviews.
Movie
we're all
reviews,
gonna
yeah.
watch a movie. We're gonna write down what we
We'll
like.
give,
what we
we'll
don't
give
like
our
about
top
it, talk
5
about it.
movies, and
Yeah.
I'll give you a hint in no special order. In my top 5 movies are the Men in Black trilogy, and I'm saying the Men in Black trilogy as a singular item. So keep that in mind when you're like 1, 2,
Well, if we're
3,
gonna break
4,
that
5.
down, that's an entire week's worth of episodes.
I'm
2
just
episodes
saying,
right there. so.
number it isn't number 3, or it could be number 3, but like number 3, Men in Black trilogy. Like that's just it. Like there is no, I like 2 better than 3. Fuck you. I like 1, I like 2, I like 3, and then you can keep this other Hollywood shit to yourself. I heard they were good, they were all right, but like Hollywood doesn't make movies for people like me right now. So that's
No,
kind of
you're
just how
far.
that is.
If you think ketchup is spicy, you're not their audience.
No, yeah. Pepperonis make me sweat.
Man,
Yeah.
I can give you right off rip. I can give you.
Yeah. So it'll be really good. But
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll save this for
but
when
what
we get
we're-
to it. Yeah,
but
yeah.
what we have to talk
or off
about
the
here,
air, off the air.
what we have to talk about now specifically are these NFL firings. Now we're going to give you all of them, not the ones that just happened this week.
Hit us with it.
Number 1, Chicago Bears fired Matty. New
Yep.
Orleans Saints fired Dennis Allen. Jets fired Robert and Joe Douglas. New England fired Gerard Mayo. Jacksonville fired Doug Peterson. Las Vegas Raiders fired Antonio Pierce. As I sit here and breathe today, I don't believe anything else has changed. Did I forget one?
No, I think that's it.
Well, I think it's it for now.
Okay.
Yeah, for now.
I do believe there's at least one more coming.
So that's 6
Well.
total coaching vacancies and a couple GM vacancies here. The ones that just make no sense unless you realize that this is a business and they're not. Well, actually, I mean, if you think about it, the NFL isn't a developmental league anymore. As true as that is for quarterbacks, that's just as fucking true as it is for coaches. And I think that's what people need to realize. You can talk about it all you want. You didn't get a fair shakedown. This is a fucking business. And a lot of the people that have the privilege to talk about it on a platform that allows them to be forced into people's living rooms are only there because you are really good at that fucking business. So shut your damn mouth. That blows my mind, right? Oh, I'm so mad at this guy. Oh, you're mad at the guy that paid you $48 million over your career. Shut your fucking mouth, dude. No, you're not. If he called you and asked you to do anything at all, including burying this bag and don't ask a fucking question, you would.
You do it. Yeah.
Grow up. The dude paid you $48 million fucking dollars in a less than 20-year span. We all know how that works out. Hugh Hefner had a mansion of them. You're a fucking bunny. You're nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah.
There's your rant for the day, Gronkowski. But anywho.
Well, I mean, what's the most attractive offer, or what's the most attractive job in that market?
So my magnet, Patrick disappeared. Ah!
What?
The Jets jersey, you put your head down, your face went, yeah, you're gone.
Oh yeah, the green
yeah,
screen?
Yeah.
You
That's
like
cool.
pick it up every now and then.
So I think my magnet, take it to the bank, is Ben Johnson to Jacksonville. Now, I've talked about this in the chat. Ben Johnson brings to the table a complexity, or a complex. Jesus Christ, where am I?
Well, you mean
A complex
his offensive scheme
playbook.
is complex, yeah.
Very much so. I have complexity. I don't know. What am I sitting here thinking? I'm a goddamn English scholar sometimes.
Either or.
But anyway, so you've got Trevor Lawrence, who
He's a franchise quarterback. I mean, let's just be honest.
He's $250 million quarterback. He's franchise quarterback. But I just think that you have teams that play to their opponent. And maybe Trevor's the type of guy who played with his playbook. So I think we're going to see that Trevor has the ability to anticipate those windows. And with that anticipation and the trust in the receivers and the trust in Ben Johnson, I believe in the provenness of Ben Johnson that Ben Johnson brings. I think that Jacksonville's going to open up the bank for Ben. Ben's going to take all that money. And would you rather Trevor Lawrence or Drake May or Caleb Williams?
I'd rather have Trevor Lawrence, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I'd
just
rather
purely
start my coaching career with a guy who's actually been in
who's
the playoffs.
earned a $250 million contract. You don't just get given a $250 million quarterback. You do things that your franchise hasn't been able to do in the past, and that's what Trevor's been able to do. So I don't know if I've talked myself into it at this point, but I have a lot of faith in that coming into fruition, just as much as I believe Glenn is attached to the Saints at this point. Correct?
Yeah, the blonde hair surfer look probably convinced you more than anything.
Yeah.
The Glenn to the Saints is interesting, considering they are just moving off a defensive coach.
Right.
And that dude, whoever comes into New Orleans, I mean, you got to get rid of Derek Carr. You have to.
I feel bad for whoever goes to New Orleans.
It's going to be a shit first year.
Because you're going to get a hell of a lot of money. And
it's going to be rough, for sure.
It's going to be a shit 3 years. I mean, you need to find
there.
Yeah, well, I mean, for one, it's cap space hell. I don't think the Saints have ever had a cap space, a positive cap space.
Not since Sean Payton.
No. I mean, they're negative 62 or something like that.
Well, we broke this down though. It's like they own offensive lineman, like a special teams player, and someone else make maybe a DB or a linebacker. They own that's all their money is tied up in these guys' franchise tags and all this other BS.
So I really hope Glenn doesn't go to the Saints. Like everything inside of me hopes Glenn doesn't go to the Saints. I
It'd
would
be like
rather
like a death wish for him.
I would rather Glenn be in Chicago. And that's just me as a human being. Now, me as a Packer fan, get the fuck to New Orleans.
Or the Jets.
Yep. Or the Jets. Yep. Either one of those two. Yep. yeah.
Maybe bring Aaron Rodgers back then.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. As a human, please don't. But as a Packer fan, get the hell out of our
asking
division.
that question.
Please get the hell
As
out
a
of our
human,
division.
please don't. That's fucking hilarious.
I told the
There's-
I told the cab driver the other day. I said my what is it? My mouth is bigger than, or my eyes are bigger than my stomach, and my mouth is bigger than my wallet.
Yep.
Valid.
It's funny as
Valid
shit.
point.
So, but anywho.
I think
Go ahead.
New York has potential, but that's another clusterfuck. New Orleans is a clusterfuck. Chicago, you're set up in okay position, but you have to build the O line.
The two
But-
best positions have to be Jacksonville and Chicago for a head coach to have immediate success. They're-
Patriots?
The Patriots might have to do it more through the draft. I think the Bears might have some money to be able to do it in free agency.
Yeah.
They have cap space. The Patriots have a ton of cap space and
Yeah,
draft
yeah.
capital, correct? Yeah.
Draft capital as well. I do. I like, with Jacksonville off the table.
All right. Yeah. Well, let's just wipe Jacksonville clean. Jacksonville, we've got aligned with Ben Johnson. All right.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us are under the same assumption that he is going to be at least the front runner, if not the guy that's going there.
Correct. Now, New England is gonna get Vrabel. I think.
What?
Charles bounced.
Oh,
Ugh.
I was like, what did I screw up?
No, he's no longer in the feed. Yeah, he was talking about Vrabel going to the Patriots, which Vrabel going back to the Patriots, because isn't that where he came from originally anyway?
Yeah,
Wasn't he on the staff, the Patriots?
I think so. Didn't he play tight end for the Pats too?
Yeah, that or a linebacker. I can't remember what he was.
Oh no, Campbell was a tight end. Vrabel was a linebacker.
Yeah.
So I believe. Sorry about that.
Did you do the same thing I did?
Yeah.
So you were talking, we were talking about it. Vrabel's gonna full circle back to the Patriots. He was on that staff with, wasn't he on the staff?
Yeah.
He
Yes.
played there, obviously, but
Yeah,
I mean,
and he played there absolutely. I think Vrabel is going to either be Jets or the Patriots, but there's
it
no
makes
way
more
Vrabel
sense,
goes
yeah.
to the Jets, right? Even if
No.
Vrabel comes out and is like, "Oh, we're going to sign with the Jets," he's going to sign, and an hour or so later, he's going to resign, and then he's going to be the coach of New England again. It'll be Bill Belichick all over again.
I honestly believe.
I was
that
about to
the
say,
fact-
didn't Belichick do that? That's funny.
Yeah. I think the fact that you came out and said that he had a very good interview with the Jets just leads me to believe that he's in talks with other teams and he's just trying
Very
to
much so.
convince.
Oh,
he's trying
yeah.
to convince them that he's a good hire anywhere else.
Mhm.
Okay,
You see,
let me throw this at you. Let me throw this at you just because of how retarded Tennessee is.
Uh-huh.
What if they brought Mike Vrabel back?
They won't.
Just
Well, no, they're keeping their head coach though.
Yeah.
oh,
they've
they are
already come-
keeping their
yeah,
coach.
they fired
That's
the
right.
GM.
They fired.
Yeah, the
They
GM.
fired their
yes.
GM.
Yeah.
And arguably,
But
it
It does
wasn't his fault this
it does feel like the guy you fired being requested by every single team who needs a coach this year. Seems like you effed up there. Yeah, I agree. But sometimes
Yeah,
there's a guy
I
who
mean-
gets you to a spot, and then there's that guy who gets you
Well-
over the spot.
The panic button. They pushed the panic button
Well,
a little
I
too
mean,
early in Tennessee.
I think Dan Campbell wins a Super Bowl. I just
They
don't
had
think
Derrick
he
Henry
wins.
back then.
it.
Derrick
Yeah, I
Henry
just-
and Hop, well, not D Hop. Who did they have? They had a ton of talent when he was coaching there.
well, yeah, that's
So when Vrabel was coaching,
Yeah. And they screwed.
yeah,
the
I mean
poop.
they had
for
they
one,
had
drafted
AJ
Will
Brown,
Levis.
they had AJ Brown, they had
Represent
King
the
Henry,
GM.
they had
Yeah, they had it was
Tennessee's-
Brown. Yes, they had Brown. I say D Hop. Like what the fuck? Yeah.
well, they had D-Hop later too.
Yeah. It's amazing these franchises have
was
all
their
this talent
quarterback?
and then they screw it. It was old
Ryan
boy
Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill.
Tannehill.
Yeah. The whole world gets set on fire when I call Jared Goff Ryan Tannehill Jr. How the hell do you expect Mike Vrabel to win with Ryan fucking Tannehill?
I don't know. I mean, they did. They made the playoffs. They had a run, a little
They
bit of a
were
run.
It
they
speaks a
won
little
their
bit more
division.
to the type of coach Vrabel is than it does the organization.
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
He reminds me of a
Absolutely.
Dan Campbell, no bullshit coach.
Yeah,
I mean,
very much
not
so.
not to the same extent of we're going for it on fourth down, 4th and 1, 4th and 4, 4th and 5.
No,
not that
Vrabel's much
type.
smarter. No.
But he obviously he's got that mindset where he can convince the players to go and bash their heads against the wall for him and play hard.
Yeah, and it shows the injuries in Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I feel about Vrabel is the same way I feel about Dan Campbell. Okay, I think Vrabel situationally is either the guy to get you to a point, but not over the hump, or the guy to take you from that point and get you over the hump. Right? Like you're never the guy who, like, well, I guess you can't say never because there are like Bill Belichick's and Bill Parcells and Andy Reid's, right? But even Andy Reid couldn't in Philadelphia. Would he have? Probably, but
Andy
was
Reid,
he able to?
Andy Reid's future was all based off of the fact that players, the coaches that he brought with him, he brought in after the fact. He did get a little bit lucky with Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City too. Let's not kid around. Having Kelsey doesn't hurt either. But
having a quarterback makes a big difference.
Having a quarterback, but he also brought in talent. I mean, defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators. He's had a lot of success with different people. I mean, he knows what works.
Yeah.
Well, and he works as a CEO type of head coach for that reason.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's making these amazing play calls. I believe it's more on his offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. He's a great motivator.
Yeah. And we all know Spags calls his own defense. That guy's a defensive
Let's be honest.
Genius.
The reason that defense is so good, it's Steve Spags.
It's because of Spags. Yeah.
Who should be getting a head coaching position here too.
At some point, it's just got the dominoes.
I think the Jets and the Saints have requested an interview with him.
So I can see Spags going to the Saints. Now follow me on the spiderweb. Spags to the Saints. Glenn to the Raiders. Which then allows him
coaching Max Crosby.
And now, hear me out. Garrett Wilson is not staying in Cleveland.
You mean New York?
Oh, New York, yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. No. I said the wrong player.
Miles Garrett.
Yeah, there it is.
Damn it, Miles Garrett. You think he's going to you think he's gonna?
I'm just saying there's a window where you could have Garrett and Crosby with Glenn.
That's not.
With Glenn. As I said, it's a spider web. It's a sticky trap. But I'm just like, what situation would be better? Garrett wants out.
Yeah, well, he's made that pretty obvious that he wants out, but
he's not going to be with the rebuilding team. And
he wanted out when they got rid of Zadarius Smith. Yeah. I think he would have.
So the
Raiders, from what I hear, he was trying to push his way out onto a contender, and Cleveland said no.
Yeah. Yes. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Well, and arguably, too, there was probably not a lot of contenders with cap space or the ability to carry on any type of future with them. There probably wasn't a lot there for him, unlike Zadarius, who's just a drop-off contract.
Well, I know for a fact, just watching the Eagles channels, that the Eagles themselves offered Bryce Huff for Myles Garrett and a second-round pick, and they turned it down.
Yeah, I probably would too.
Yeah, I mean it's smart. I mean,
it's Myles Garrett.
Let's take your best defensive player and give him to a Super Bowl contender.
I think he's
and give you
one of the only players ever to have 14 sacks consecutively his entire fucking life.
Well, didn't Hendrickson
the only player to do it in 4 seasons?
Yeah.
Hendrickson signed an extension in 2022, and he's a free agent in 26. And
Who?
can you imagine? Can you imagine this guy? He's been leading the NFL. He led the NFL in sacks, I believe, back-to-back seasons this year.
Oh, Trey
Who?
Hendrickson.
Trey
Yeah,
Hendrickson.
Oh, the guy from Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, the dude's he's a beast.
Yeah.
He's in his 8th year of the league, and he's still dominating like he's a freaking second, third year player.
It's the same thing with Garrett. Garrett's an older head, but
I think
I think it's 4 years in a row with 14 sacks.
Yeah.
Like, that's retarded.
30 years old. To be 30 years old is just absolutely insane. And to be dominating like offensive linemen the way that these guys are, Myles Garrett,
and still,
Trey Hendrickson,
you know,
yeah.
last year's defensive player of the year, like no big deal. At 30,
And Crosby's eventually going to be that Hendrickson, that Myles Garrett type player. I mean, he obviously is. He needs to stay healthy. He needs to work on
Crosby.
those
I
ankles.
think Crosby's gone after this year.
Oh, he needs a linebacker or somebody to help him out because he's the only fucking guy on that.
There's a couple of people that there's a couple of teams that I would love to see Max Crosby go to.
Not anybody but Detroit.
I think him on the Ravens would be kind of dope.
I think I think Buffalo would be fun too.
Buffalo, yeah. I mean, he would be the replacement for Von Miller.
Yeah.
Listen, you guys,
Philly.
He has Raiders tattooed all over his body.
But that doesn't mean anything. He's got a lot of tattoos on his body.
Would he leave? Yes. But
money talks.
I believe
they don't have the money.
I'm just saying, I believe that the ability to keep him is stronger than his want to leave.
His desire to bounce, yeah. I can see that.
His desire to win a championship is what's causing him to want to leave. So if he believes the Raiders are taking a good step, he stays with the Raiders. I mean, there's just and that good step is like Glenn.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got right? I mean, like without Glenn, I'm on board. I'm on board with you guys. He's going somewhere else, Baltimore, and I don't want to stray away from that. That was a interesting talk. I just a dude who's got Raider tattooed all over his body, like.
No, the only reason that I really think that he's out is because I've seen
enough to believe that he wouldn't leave.
Well, I've seen a couple of interviews with him where he said, like, look, I love Las Vegas. I have the logo tatted on me. Like, why would I leave? And then 2 or 3 weeks later, after his injury, he's like, listen, I want a Super Bowl ring. I want All-Pro. I want this. I want that. I don't know where I can accomplish that at. So is there a chance that I leave?
Not in Vegas. And
yeah, no, I don't think he'll ever get a Super Bowl ring in Vegas. Like, that's 10 years away. And Max Crosby ain't got 10 years left.
Outside of them bringing Brady back and Gronkowski and Bill Belichick.
And even that?
maybe they compete for a playoff spot.
I don't know. I've seen it much different. Okay, at this point, if you're the Raiders, you're more worried about the Chargers than you are Kansas City. Kansas City, without Patrick Mahomes, loses to Denver 100-0.
Yeah,
I mean, Kansas City.
We just saw it.
Kansas City starters that they were resting, basically were resting because they're old.
Apparently, Kansas City is kind of in deep shit over that too. The NFL is pissed off at them for not putting out a competitive football team on the field. They were putting in practice squad players who the week before were not even on the fucking team. They were on the special teams practice squad. You had to put a competitive team on the field. Yeah, they might lose a draft pick over this. It's not like oh my God, you guys are in deep shit. It's more like, that kind of was, you made us look like a laughing stock by putting that product on the field.
Yeah, that was bullshit.
Oh,
yeah. And it wasn't that they rested 11 starters. You can rest every player you want to, but you still, if a guy is available and healthy and he's the next guy on the depth chart and you literally go past him and put your 4-stringer in there. Yeah, that's on you. And that's what they did.
Because it looks like to the fan, and they brought this up on Get Up this morning.
Oh, they absolutely just said they laid down.
That you didn't want to see Cincinnati in the playoffs, so you fucked off.
Yeah. I mean, without you can't. There's no way to prove that, and
No, of
obviously
course.
that's a fan's perspective and whatever.
At least
but,
they didn't pull a Green Bay.
all right, Mike, go ahead. Charles is going to explain this to you because he thinks the Packers are playing chess with this.
Okay.
Let me know if you feel the same way Charles does, because I am starting to completely do a 180 with Charles's thinking on this.
If I'm Green Bay, I'd rather play in Philadelphia than anywhere else in the country. It's the shortest travel distance. I gain 1 hour on that team. Time wise, you're playing at 8 o'clock. I'm playing at 7 o'clock. I've already played you, and it was hella close. Yeah, we were both ugly, but who we were then and who we are today are two different teams.
Okay.
I like the matchups better. Green Bay defensively is better with the run per se. Not that they're the best. And again, don't mistake me for saying that Green Bay is the best run defense in the playoffs. I'm saying defensively, Green Bay holds the run better than they do with our DBs right now, mostly due to Jair Alexander and shit going off. But I would much rather be up against Brown and Smith over Evans and
What?
bro. What do you mean?
Hold on.
What do you mean? What? Dude,
Hold on.
How many games this year was
Hold on.
Smith absent?
Okay. So let's take this start by start.
Okay.
You're 100% right. When we saw each other week 1, it was close. It was completely close.
Mm-hmm.
But what you have to take away from that is your team isn't the same. My team isn't the same.
Yeah, Vegas
So-
looks at that too. It has you at a 4-point favorite at home getting 3 points.
Yeah. So I'm not saying it's not going to be a competitive game. There is not a DB on your team, not one, who can cover Smith or A.J. Brown one-on-one. Not one. Jair Alexander, the only one who could, is gone. So you
they're-
lose-
So but they could guard McMillan and Evans.
Who the fuck is McMillan? I don't know who that is. I know who Mike Evans is.
Chris Goodwin Jr. It doesn't matter if you don't know who he is. Statistically, he
That's
helped me win
fine.
the fantasy championship.
Um,
When Godwin went out, this dude started
Godwin?
going. Yeah, when Godwin went out, this dude started gaining 20 points a game.
fantastic.
7-8 catches, 80 plus yards, a touchdown or more. He's done more this season than Smith has.
So,
I'm
Do
not
you
saying
know who the
he's a
person-
better player than Smith.
okay. Let me ask you this. Do you know
Yes.
who the wide receiver with the lowest amount of drops in the NFL is?
Probably
A.J. Brown.
Yeah,
He didn't drop a single pass this year. Not one.
awesome. Yeah, awesome.
Your DBs, we've played better DBs than what Green Bay has, and AJ eats every time.
Okay.
The other thing is, if
But
you
this-
stack the box, and you bring 8 in the box, which you guys are going to do because we have Saquon, and we're going to do it because you guys have Josh Jacobs. It's how you stop a run. And to neutralize both our teams, you have to play run first. You have to.
Right.
If you bring 8 in the box and you leave Devontae Smith or AJ Brown one-on-one,
Yeah.
who do you have that can lock them up?
Listen, I'm not arguing with you about that. I'm not at all. But what I'm saying is your playbook doesn't utilize the wide receivers like Tampa Bay does.
No, you're 100% right. They don't utilize the wide receivers the same way.
Y'all went on like a 9 or 10 game stretch where old boy didn't get 250.
No.
They
We
were
won on
relying
a-
Saquon big time. They
we won-
the ball in its back.
We went on if you look at the first 5 weeks of the season, right? Jalen, yes, had turnovers, but he had 285, 390, or 290, 300-yard games. Came back after the bye week, we started relying on Saquon more
Right.
and more.
So
and
if you
more
shut
and
down
more.
the run and you put the ball in Jalen's hands,
and
it's a
then we
coin
do
flip.
to
It's
and
a
then we
coin
do
flip.
to you guys what we did to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh shut down Saquon. He had 69 yards that night. AJ Brown went over 100 and a touchdown,
you
and
could.
Devontae Smith went over
Yeah,
100 and touchdown.
you could. You've done it 2 times this year out of
No,
17.
we've done it like 5 times this year.
Out of 17 games.
Okay, but how many? This is what I'm telling you.
Right.
Chris Godwin, fantastic, but he's out hurt. Mike Evans, fantastic. He's 900 years old. You guys, your defense would eat Mike Evans because all you'd have to do is bracket Mike Evans. You play the wide receiver 2 1-on-1, and that cuts half of Tampa Bay's offense. Their running game is trash.
So Jerry
Trash.
Rice has 11 straight seasons with 1,000 yards. Name the other wide receiver who has that.
Mike Evans, I know exactly what you're saying, but
He
what I'm
just
saying
got
is
it this year.
congratulations to him. But what I'm telling you is this. Here's the thing this is what my biggest point is, right?
Right.
At this point in time in the playoffs,
Yeah.
Philadelphia has
A
wide
quarterback
receiver
that
1
just started
and a
practicing today for the first
we
time
have
in
a
3
wide
weeks.
receiver 1 and a wide receiver 2, right? Tampa Bay has a wide receiver 1 and a wide receiver 2.5 who nobody's heard of until this season. Devontae Smith's been dominating since he came in. AJ Brown's been dominating since he came in. You can want to play or you can want to play us more than Tampa Bay, and I kind of understand why you're saying that. But here's the problem that you're going to have to deal with us versus there. Tampa Bay doesn't have that complementary third and fourth piece where Philly does. We have a tight end who is top 10 in the league. We have a running back who just broke 2,000 yards.
They Bucky Irving and Kate Otten.
Kate Otten is not Dallas Goedert, and Bucky Irving for sure as shit ain't Saquon Barkley.
I mean,
Yeah,
Bucky Irving is a rookie.
29th in the league in passing yards a game.
29th in the league. Listen,
But what were we in
But
rushing? Number 2.
it
Number
doesn't
2.
matter what you were last year.
But
This
that
we're
reminds
talking. This is the end of the season on paper. Who you are, not
I'm
who
just
you
saying
could
this,
be.
I'm just saying this is like told Charles, it's starting to remind me of Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore game from last year. Run heavy, pass when need to.
I just
That's
I don't know. It's just something about
plays
the
better
play.
for Green
Something
Bay
about
in
the
this
playbook.
scenario.
I think maybe
It's going to be 40 degrees. That's tropical weather for Green Bay.
Well,
It's
for,
not going
for
to
me,
be
it
90.
just feels like maybe this is just an easier route for Green Bay. I'm not saying that Green Bay is going to win.
No,
Charles
it's
and
going to
I
be terrible
obviously
regardless.
believe, but yeah,
It's Philadelphia. Listen,
yeah.
the whole
That's what
thing.
we told. That's what we said too.
The whole thing started with, if I had to pick a poison, right? Because regardless,
Yeah.
I mean, I would much rather Philadelphia. I'm gaining an hour, 40-degree weather, not 60 or 70-degree weather after I've been in the up north for the last months. Flight-wise, it's much better for me. Time-wise, it's much better for me.
so you probably won't even have to take a flight. You probably take a bus.
Well, they fly.
They fly. They could take a bus, but yeah, no, they fly. I'm just saying it. I mean, it stacks up much better. You're also playing against a quarterback. Let's be honest. He's been in concussion protocol for weeks. And
Yes.
it's not that he's just been held out because Philly's like,
No,
we
no.
could just
So-
hold him out. Like,
So
he
here's
may
the
not
thing,
have
right?
even come back if he didn't go to practice today.
Jalen Hurts, the only reason they didn't clear him last week is because he wasn't playing. There was no point to practicing, right? Jalen Hurts is going to come back and he's going to play. I take your point about not playing for 3 weeks. I know what Russ can do. We've seen it. All of us have been football fans long enough to know.
Well, Philly has been blaming Rust on their terrible play the last 2 seasons.
What terrible play. We've lost 2 games this year that we look like shit.
Dude,
The
I said
rest of our
last 2
games,
seasons.
but
The
this is
last-
what I'm saying. What terrible play. Last year we had a terrible 6-game span. But before that we had a fantastic 10-game span. This year we had a terrible 2-game span, and we've had a great 13-game span after that. I get that last year our defense was complete shit. We were 8,000 years old. James Bradbury gave up 9 billion touchdowns to
You
everybody.
just lost to Washington without Jalen Hurts.
We lost to what? You guys are on a 3-game losing streak? 2-game losing streak? we ended the season with a win. Like
Okay,
our
okay.
third string quarterback is beating professional teams. Like it's not like we're this bum ass team who doesn't have an all pro offensive line.
You beat the Giants, bro. They
I
like
understand, but who did you guys lost to the Bears? Like I get
Well,
it, and your starters were
that's really what I
playing.
was
You
going to
lost to
get
the
to.
Bears.
That
no, our starters were out of that game before the end of the first quarter.
Jordan Love got hurt in that game. Your starters were playing, and
In
you
the
lost to the Bears.
in the first quarter, before the first quarter ended, we didn't have Jordan Love, we didn't have Christian Watson, we didn't have Josh Jacobs. What do you?
Y'all lost to the Bears. We beat our Giant with a third string. We beat the Giants with a third string quarterback.
The Bears
I'm
aren't
glad.
anywhere near the Giants.
Yes, they're better than the Giants.
Much better than a head coach away from a playoff team.
Okay, who? Okay, so your second string quarterback lost to the Bears.
The
Our
Bears,
third string quarterback.
Washington needed a Hail Mary to beat the Bears.
Washington
That same
did.
quarterback the same quarterback that beat the Giants couldn't beat Washington.
We beat them once this year. We beat them when it mattered. We didn't need that game. We had the East already locked up. You're coming off a 2-game losing streak with a quarterback who doesn't have a groin, basically, who's been hurt all goddamn year playing through it, with a second string quarterback who we ate in the first game. Yes, he played 2.5 seconds in that first game in Brazil. I'm just saying, like
the only the only thing that Green Bay actually has better than Philly, outside of quite possibly in the safety, McKinney, they have Green Bay's defensive line and offense. Green Bay has a better offensive line protecting the ball.
No, absolutely not.
Green Bay only gave up 22 sacks this season. Philadelphia gave up almost
Philadelphia has 4. Philadelphia has, let's see, Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, Landon,
and they gave up
Landon Dickerson. Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens are all 4 Pro Bowlers. We also have 3 All Pros.
This year, Pro Bowlers?
Cam Jurgens, this is the first year playing center. And no, Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson are both at least 3-time Pro Bowlers.
Okay, but
your offense, we have the best offensive line in the league. We have the best offensive line in the league.
This year? How many sacks did they give up this year?
48.
48 sacks this year. You gave up 48 sacks. You are not the best offensive line in the league.
Go statistically and let's talk about offensive line. We have the best offensive line in the league.
Green Bay gave up less than 24 sacks.
The only reason I'm bringing this up, right? Just calm down. The only reason I'm bringing this up is I'm talking about pass protection. I'm not talking about best offensive line. I'm saying who protects quarterback. Green Bay
Both of our running backs don't get touched until 4 or 5 yards.
40 times more than Philly and gave up 26 less sacks.
We have 2 tackles. Lane Johnson didn't give up 1 sack this year and only gave up 9 pressures. Jordan Mailata only gave up 2 sacks.
You gave up 48 total sacks, though. I don't care about those 2.
I'm just trying to bust the stats out so that we can understand.
But this is what I'm telling you. Y'all are talking like Philly's offensive line is ass. Like y'all have this so much better offensive line.
Well, pass protection.
Philly has had statistically proven has had one of, if not the best offensive line in the NFL for going on a decade now. Go back.
We're not talking about past season.
But this is what I'm telling you.
This season.
And this season, look at our statistics.
Who's playing in the playoffs? Your offensive line from last year or the offensive line from this year?
It's the same offensive line minus Jason Kelce. It's the exact same offensive line.
You did give up 48 sacks last year.
It's the same offensive line minus Jason Kelce.
They're getting older.
It's the exact same.
They're not as good as they were. That's the point.
You're out. He's right.
We have 4 All Pros. How are we not as good?
Well, pass protection
and 4 Pro Bowlers.
It's just pass.
We
protection. It's just pass protection. You go in, you look at the NFL stats. You got the number. The reason why Philly's so high is, like you said, Jason Mailata. He's the number 1 rated offensive lineman in the NFL by far. That obviously is the anchor for Philly's defense. the Phillies offensive line.
It just cops.
Uh,
If we're getting heated about the Eagles and the Packers.
so all right, this is it. Well, those are the only two stats that I had. Those are the only two stats that I had.
Look, this is the real. I love the matchup with Green Bay. One, because
fine.
it gives either team a chance to either confirm or revenge the first week. And two, this is going to be a super difficult test for both teams. Our defense is insane.
I
Y'all's
like either.
offense is high scoring and crazy.
I like either team's either team coming out of this game. I like them the next week, just basically because
To win their divisional match. Yeah.
Well, just because the simple fact, that it's competition. If you don't play a good football team and you're coming off a bye, I mean, granted, I wouldn't. Philly basically is coming off a bye. Let's be honest. Like they got to rest everybody.
Well, Jalen Hurts practicing today, money has started to come in more on the Eagles. Than
Obviously, we were talking about that earlier too.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday.
There's plus money coming in guaranteed because he's going to play. I mean, you don't even risk him practicing at that point because coming off concussion protocol, if he gets banged in the freaking head with a football, they probably
he's done with the season. Yeah.
Because the NFL,
I like this
touch and go with that.
Concussion protocol isn't like a sprained ankle.
It's not a joke.
No.
You don't just pause in between step 2 and step 3.
No, you have to go the full way. You have to go 100% through it. Otherwise, you don't play.
Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So even if he wasn't going to play last week, if he could, he would have been a limited participant in practice to get him off of the concussion protocol. Because then Kansas City rested their whole fucking team and was like, nope, the sun is under the god. Nobody, it didn't matter. Like Jalen Hurts was coming off a concussion. Not a damn person would say anything if he wasn't playing that week because he was a limited participant in the practice before.
Yeah.
I think that's where the anxiety for people was coming in. And I think that's why the money had waited until the middle of the week, closer to the end of the week, to start pushing more towards Philadelphia.
But anybody like us that knows sports, knows football, knew exactly what was playing out. It's just that I don't know if people are just that gullible, that they believe that he was really not going to play. It's just kind of weird to me that people are still that dumb.
A minute 37 ago, I said, you cannot just pause the NFL's concussion protocol because your team doesn't need that player that week. That's what you guys are saying right now.
No, he waited long enough.
No, what I'm telling you is that the reason he didn't get cleared last week is because they didn't even bother going through it. He worked his way, and this is all according to Nick Sirianni through his press conference. They left him out. Yes, he is still in the concussion protocol. They could have called him up as a limited participant in practice last week. They chose not to keep him on the injury report. He's already cleared the concussion protocol. He was a limited participant today, not finally cleared. He's limited participant today. Tomorrow he goes in to get his full clean bill of health. But I think this game's going to be good. I like you guys. I like the Packers. Like when the Eagles aren't playing the Packers, I tend to cheer for them. But I think this game's going to be really good.
Sing the whole chant, but
I think this game's going to be really good. What the matchup that excites me the most is Saquon and Josh Jacobs. Like I can't wait to see those guys rush and see how big their run game plays in this game.
I think my most excited matchup is Edgerrin Cooper and Quay Walker versus Saquon Barkley. That's what it's going to be.
Edgerrin Cooper, you guys got a fucking monster with that guy. God, every time I watch highlights or see him play, I'm just like, man, fuck. The Packers got a fucking monster.
You said that when we drafted him too.
Yeah. And here's the kicker too. I think I think you're right. I think it could be a fucking great game. I think the odds of Green Bay just getting their ass smacked and
Oh, I think
making
that's
the score competitive at the end is much higher than anybody else thinks. Now, the reason I think that mostly is because do you know who the youngest team ever to make the playoffs is?
probably you guys.
It was us last year. Do you know who the second youngest team ever to make the playoffs is?
I'm guessing it's going to be us this year.
It's us this year. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Okay, so for me as a Packer fan, like there's no way like yeah, we're going to beat Philadelphia and we're definitely going to beat Detroit. We're probably going to get our ass kicked, but we've got a chance. And that's all I care about. We've got in my mind we have a better chance there or there. But I think this is more scarier for the future than it is for the present. And the reason I'm saying that is because something that we were just pointing out there. Philadelphia has had one of the best offensive lines the game has ever seen. We're going to talk about this offensive line for many, many, many decades to come, but they're getting old. They're getting hurt. Their offensive line as an entirety is giving up. Now, of course, some of this is probably on the quarterback, but again, you're not getting younger is my point. The 49ers aren't getting younger. Detroit all over, not getting younger.
So the only
LA,
major
Houston, Green Bay.
The only old dude that we have on our line still is Lane Johnson. Landon Dickerson's 26. Cam Jurgens 24. Right. Mekhi Becton's 28. Well, Jordan Mailata's 27.
Right.
So
I'm not saying you guys are. Listen, I sometimes when we chat, it's hard to not hear bottom of the league. Right? There's a number 1, there's a number 2, and there's a number 3. There's a 4 and a 5. And if you're in the top 10 of this, you're still in a great boat. But 6 is better than 7, regardless of how it's read. Right?
Yeah, no. I'm just I just wanted to make the point that we're getting older, but really it would only take us replacing Lane Johnson's the hard one.
Well,
because he's a Hall of Fame right tackle.
A couple rookies and the Eagles are right where the Packers are. Their average age is only 0.6 years.
But we're talking about offensive linemen like they're fucking pieces of candy from the 1-cent candy jar. Trash offensive linemen get huge contracts in the offseason because teams can't fix the offensive line.
Oh,
like,
it's the most difficult position in the NFL.
So just fixing this shit like throwing a blindfolded dart and that's where we're flying
on this
vacation. That's not how that fucking works. You don't go from 20 or less sacks to 48 sacks and go, we're just a couple pieces away. That's a huge difference in pass protection. Now it's not 60 or 70 or fucking 50 plus like a lot of these other teams, but it's 48 sacks. And now Jalen I'm not 30 or less. Maybe the concussion doesn't happen. Now again, the concussion happened because of how he ran. Blah 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 blah.
Well, no, the concussion happened because fucking Frankie Louvu targeted him.
Cheap ass fucking hit. Yeah, I saw it. That was
fucking prick. But no. I completely understand your point. Offensive lines, they're one of the hardest things to fix in the world because it's a skill that it's not sexy. You don't get stats on it. Like nobody appreciates the O-line. So you have to have special people to make a really good offensive line. But I think what Philly has done offensive line wise that I think a lot of the league hasn't caught up to, I think Green Bay has, I think Detroit has, and a couple people have, is they're open to Mekhi Becton is the perfect example, right? In New York, he played left tackle. He comes over to Philly, signs a 1-year deal, gets moved to the right guard position, and his whole career's revamped. I think Philly, the great teams with great offensive lines, take pieces and move them around until they find where they fit. Jordan Mailata had never played football until we drafted him. And now he's the highest graded offensive lineman this year, right? So I think it's all about development. And Philly has been very lucky with Jeff Stoutland to have one of the best offensive line coaches in the league.
Wow, this is so crazy. Listen, I don't disagree with you, but to also further that point, if the coaching staff current was able to take a guy who's never played football and make him great, and the rest of him around them gave up 48 sacks, maybe those other guys just don't got it. Because
I think too,
as much as we're
you
talking
still have
about,
to, but you have to take into account that Jalen runs out of the pocket almost more than almost any other quarterback in the league. So yes, a lot of those sacks. I'm not taking away the credit that those guys deserve for Jalen getting sacked, right? Like I would say probably 30 of those sacks are on the offensive line, but 18 to 20 of those sacks are on Jalen leaving the pocket too soon, or not hitting the edge clean enough, or whatever it is. I
so
think.
last year you finished with 32 sacks given up.
Yep. And last year, if you look, Jalen didn't run nearly as much as he's running this year or in 22. Jalen's running almost twice as much as he did last year. So the sacks are up. I'm telling you, like, it's not all the offensive line. A good third of those sacks are on Jalen. So the offensive line, y'all's offensive line versus our D line is going to be a matchup I can't wait to see. And y'all's D
I'm very
line.
excited about it.
Y'all's D-line and linebackers versus our offensive line is another matchup that's going to be crazy too. The trenches between these two teams are crazy.
How many rushing yards did Jalen have this year?
Oh, fuck, I don't know. Fuck, I didn't check his stats. 3, maybe 6. I don't know, 600 yards. And it might not even be that much. I think it might actually be closer to 300 or 400.
Last year he had 630 rushing yards.
So then this year he ran less. Holy shit.
Just saying, bro, there's a lot going on here. And Saquon Barkley has covered up a fuckload of it. But without Saquon, that's why I targeted your passing game. And I targeted it at a coin flip. Because if Green Bay can force the ball into Jalen's hands, we have a better chance. But Jalen is a good football player. We're talking 30% instead of 15%. We're not even talking a 50-50 here.
But you can say the same thing with Josh Jacobs and how he's taking Green Bay to the next level offensively as well.
Indubitably. Yes, I would not argue with you at all about that. No, I would not argue with you at all about that. We do not. If you guys stop Jacobs, it's going to take a magical fucking somebody else to do, like Jaden Reed last year came out in the playoffs.
He's gonna have to step up, crazy.
But like
without Christian Watson,
Jaden's gonna do Jaden things, but like maybe Bo Melton is gonna have to do something crazy. We're gonna hear Bo Melton.
You need Dobbs. Someone's got to come alive,
right? Those are big questions with Green Bay.
Yeah, you can't. They can't be out there playing hero ball. It's not going to work.
I agree with you on that, Mike. 100%. And I think Philadelphia has the better chance of stopping Jacobs than Green Bay has of stopping.
And again, yeah, absolutely.
But again,
it's a heavy.
We're sitting here talking like 40-60, 45-55, right? And we're talking 30-70. Like when it's close, it's close. But when when I'm saying that we have a better chance, right? Because it's like Baker Mayfield, right? Like, are you going to get 5 touchdowns or 5 interceptions? Right? Because you would much rather play Baker Mayfield than Jalen Hurts. Yeah. I don't know. Baker Mayfield on the Eagles? Yeah, that would I don't know. Like, you don't get as many tush pushes, but
this is what I think, right? Like, I think this game, like I said, is going to be one of the best games of Super Wildcard Weekend. In fact, I think it might be the best game.
It could be, very much so.
I honestly, realistically, I think the game's going to end like 30-27, one way or the other. Like, it's going to be that kind of game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout on either side. It's just, I'm excited to see this game, and I haven't been with Philly. Last year's obviously playoffs, I couldn't care less because we were playing the Bucs and we got destroyed. This year, we have a decent chance to make a run. just like you guys, just like Detroit, just like Minnesota.
Any team in the NFC that comes out of the NFC is probably going to have a legit shot at winning the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, because the AFC is weak as shit this
The
year.
AFC is a lot weaker than the NFC for sure.
No, listen. By the way, I want to where I was wrong. The AI, because I had to do a little bit more digging.
You got it.
Yeah, no. Jalen rushed for 605
600.
yards last year.
630 this year.
630 this year. Averaged 4.2 yards this year. Averaged 3.9 last year. Had 15 rushing touchdowns last year. 14 this year. Yeah, but he did average 5.3 yards more a carry this season. But again, too, nitpick, little padded whack. I mean, Saquon Barkley has a lot to do with that. Just as much as Lamar Jackson had a fantastic fucking season because of Derrick Henry. I mean,
oh yeah, no. There's you can't deny like these running backs, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, obviously Saquon. They've taken great offenses and made them even better than we thought they could be.
Absolutely.
Josh Jacobs and Jordan Love behind you guys is crazy because if anybody listening doesn't know about Jordan Love's escapability, you're sleeping. Like the dude will carve you up if he needs to. It's not his forte. The dude is a gunslinger. I think he's closer to Favre than he is Rodgers, but he has the ability to beat you with his legs, and that's what makes you guys 100% more dangerous than, say, like any other quarterback, right? Like Lamar, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts, those kind of quarterbacks, you have to game plan for them in the running and in the passing game. So
you're right.
I think we both.
It's going to be interesting, very much so.
Yeah, we both have very equal matchups defensively and offensively. It's going to be one of those games where you're like, all right, this is going to come down to the last whistle.
Yeah, it very well could. So before the end, let's jump into this rookie report real quick. There was a couple names on there, Patrick, that you were not happy with, or grades. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I closed it. Damn it.
Oh, that's all right. I've got it up right now. Go ahead.
Let's just start off with Caleb Williams at number one, the number one overall pick. I don't think a C+ is valid. I think a B-.
Do you?
I don't. What did Caleb do other than taking the sacks? Caleb did not throw the ball away. He's not the reason that team is bad.
No,
it's the offensive line is the reason that team is bad.
I think because
and bad Eberflus.
Yeah.
I think because they were worse this year than they were last year.
But I mean, 20 touchdowns and 6 interceptions as a rookie. I don't care if you go 1 in freaking 16. That's not terrible.
3,400 yards. Yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying is because they regressed, but that wasn't. I don't think that was.
But 62% completion. That's it. That's tough too.
That's pretty average for the NFL.
Especially for a rookie, 62?
Yeah, I was going to say around 60%. 60% is usually average for the NFL.
Jaden Daniels this year got almost 70, and C.J. Stroud last year was closer to 70 than 60.
Well, yeah, but
Kyler Murray was closer to 70 than 60.
Jaden Daniels is going to be an A+. I mean, the dude led his team to the playoffs.
I'm just saying.
With Caleb, I would almost rather give him an incomplete than any kind of letter grade, just because I don't feel like I completely.
Well, he played every game, though. You can't give him an incomplete because he played every game.
Well,
there's players that got hurt you can't give a grade to, like J.J.
I can see. Okay,
you know,
I can see that.
You got to give him something.
If we're gonna do some kind of grade, I'd say a B-.
That's what I say. He's not. I'd say he's a high C+, maybe like a 79. Some people would call that a B-, Charles. Is that fair enough to say? What? All right, Charles. Heart of hearts. What do you feel?
C-.
You think C- is
C-.
valid?
And listen. C- because the mistakes he was making in college did not progressively get better as the season got on.
Well,
He did not-
arguably, he
was a
did
learner.
better than he did in college because he threw way more interceptions in college. He also threw way more touchdown passes, but he wasn't throwing the ball to the other team like he did in college. He wasn't throwing it up for grabs.
62% completion. That is low. We're talking
I
Anthony
can see-
Richardson low.
I can see a C- too,
I'm
just
saying,
because he wasn't.
consistent. There was absolutely no
Yeah.
consistency. It's not a failing grade because there's so much. But this is what our teachers used to tell us all the time: C- because you just didn't put in the work.
Yeah,
Okay, and that's what I would want to portray to Caleb Williams, bro. Yes, you're an A student, but guess what? The work you gave, C-. You didn't learn. I mean, week 16, 17, we're still asking the kid to throw the ball away.
Well, here's exactly why I can't fathom they gave him a C- and gave Drake May
A B-.
fucking a B-, yeah,
or a B+, whatever it
B-
is.
no
yeah.
B-. Drake May was not fucking good this year.
No, he
He
had
had-
flashes. Again, I'm thinking the
A,
same grade.
couple games he had flashes.
yeah.
But I mean, there
Drake
was
May's
games where he
definitely
was
a
absolutely fucking terrible too.
Yeah. I don't know who's
Drake
better,
May's a
Drake May
C-
or Caleb
D+.
Williams.
Yeah, I would say they're basically, as of right now, they're basically on par for their career.
In
what
the
they're gonna
NFL.
be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
honestly, Caleb obviously has more upside because we know what his arm is. The dude's got a cannon. He's
3,400
amazing arm
yards,
talent.
20 touchdowns. That's fantastic. But they did go like fucking 7 games without a touchdown pass or some shit like that.
That is the
Yep.
even crazier part.
And you've got DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift, and again, okay, coaching staff.
Romo
and this is-
Dunze.
And Roma Dunze. This, and to Mike's point, it's hard to give a grade at this point because of what we're reading
Yeah.
on paper. I feel more comfortable with the C-. This is, I mean, Jaden Daniels, I think, deserves the grade he got, and you know how I feel about Jaden. I thought he was a really great football player. I just didn't think he could survive this early in the NFL. I thought he had to put more weight on.
He's not that little. I watched the interview with him with was it Shannon Sharp or something had him on? Like
Yeah.
he's not as little as we think he is.
No,
Like
his
his like
ankles are
frame
pretty-
wise,
His
yeah.
ankles are pretty.
He's got chicken legs, but
You
he's
just
can't
said
fix
his
the ankle,
ankles.
Charles. That's the bone. You can't fix
I'm
the
just
bone.
a fucking ankle, man. Put some meat around it.
All right, well
There's
here's
some high
the,
tops.
all right. The fact that they didn't give Joe Walt an A+, he was the top 20 offensive tackle.
lineman.
Period.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
the dude went out and did things that people that are in the league that are all pros haven't done in 5 years. He did. He gave
Yeah.
up 6 sacks, but I mean, honestly, he had to throw the ball. Herbert had to throw the ball the shits on this year. So it's giving up 6 sacks. Yeah, it sucks, but
You know
that-
why
that's
I'm
I
upset?
agree.
I'm upset
Joe
with
Joe
Kyler
Alt
Murray.
should 1,000% be an A+. I think he's
he should be
one
an
of the
all-pro.
smartest.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the smartest decisions that Harbaugh made coming in was drafting Joe
Well,
Alt.
he knew that you had to protect the quarterback, and what did he do?
Yeah.
He went out and got the best offensive lineman he could for the value.
And it was smart. You got to protect. What is Herbert's? What, a $50 million, $45 million quarterback?
Yeah.
Something like that?
What
And
does Malik Neighbors need to do to get an A+?
Malik Neighbors would not be on the Giants. That's the only, that
the
has
fact
to
that-
be it.
The fact that he had Danny Dimes, Tommy DeVito, Drew Lock,
Malik Neighbors had 109 catches
109
for
catches for
1,200
1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns.
Yep.
And he got an A.
Dude, if you get the Giants a quarterback, they're at least going to win 7 or 8, 9, maybe 9 games. I mean,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
sad thing is that team sucks, but you've got one of the best young receivers now, probably for at least 4 or 5 more years.
They're going to waste him like they did OBJ.
Oh, of course they will. And then he'll go to a team like Kansas City or something and win a Super Bowl. And
Yeah.
You know what's so
And the curse
awesome?
of being a former Giant lives on.
right. And I don't know, Rome to me is a D+. I mean, Rome did not show up for the Bears at all this season. 3 touchdowns. I think he had like 400 yards, 50 catches, something like that.
Yeah, 54 catches, 734.
Bo Nix for me, A-.
Yeah.
Absolutely exceeded expectations not for Charles, but for me, exceeded expectations.
I had no expectations for him, so yeah, I agree.
For me,
I thought he was
For
going to
me
be like a
personally,
6-win quarterback.
listen,
That's just me.
I agree with you there, and I'm so glad.
I think he's.
I'm so
I think he's
glad.
ahead of where he should be. Is all I.
Yes,
is really
I
what I'm
agree.
saying.
Listen, and I agree. I agree with both of you. I do. I absolutely agree with both of you. How I feel inside, though, C minus, and I would have to tell you, mainly because he made a lot of boneheaded plays, a
Bo picks.
a sub 67% completion rating. You got 66. You got over 10 interceptions, right? So I believe if the accuracy improves, the interceptions will come down. There's so much ceiling with this
dude,
kid.
did you see his 83 overthrows he had before week 18, and he still had 29 touchdowns.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, and
That's
he
crazy.
owns the longest aired touchdown of the season.
Yeah,
I think it's
67
yards, was it? Yep.
Yeah, he's
Good
got
Lord.
a fucking arm. I mean, but
C
Charles,
minus.
like you said, at 37 years old, the quarterback should be that good.
I know. And also
Yeah,
why I'm
and
getting a
if
C
I'm-
minus because he's
Yeah.
much older
If
than
I'm-
the rest of them.
If I'm Sean Payton, I'm happy with Bo picks just because I would rather have to pull you back than force you to go out there and, you know what I'm saying, than throw the rock. Like, at least at least with Bo Nix, we know he's gonna go out there and he's gonna sling that thing all over the field. Right? He's not scared to take chances. So
Is there a controversy between who's going to be your offensive rookie of the year? I mean, you got Brock Bowers, Malik Neighbors, and Jaden Daniels.
I think it has to be Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels had the best
Brock
season out of
Bowers did for frickin' the Raiders is absolutely insane too. He had 1,200 yards as a frickin' tight end. The only other person I know that did that is Travis Kelce.
I think Kittle's done it once. But yeah.
Kittle might have did it once too, but it's just insane. And usually those were all pro seasons.
Yeah, I can't believe that Brock Bowers and a bunch of these rookies aren't all pro. It kills me.
Brock Bowers started off the season really slow too. I believe his first 2 games he only had like 6 or 7 catches.
Yeah.
And then after
the
that,
kid's impressive.
Went off. Yeah, went
the
off.
Kid's who's the tight end in Atlanta?
Oh, you're talking about
Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts, yeah, he's definitely
he's what everybody thought Kyle Pitts should be.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw this out here. I want this to be known that I'm watching. All right. I'm watching real close. Because Graham Barton in 16 starts only allowed 23 pressures, and he was picked immediately after Jordan Morgan, who had a shoulder injury again in training camp that eventually led to a season-ending surgery. 16 starts, this kid only allowed 23 pressures.
That's fantastic.
He did commit 8 penalties, tied for most among.
That'll calm down.
Well, yeah, if you hold, you can't get pressure if you hold, Charles.
Hey, I'd rather offensive linemen hold than quarterbacks take 8 sacks. Like,
well, yeah, I mean that's par for the course. I didn't realize
He'll get that calmed down.
I didn't realize Brian Thomas for the Jaguars had such a great season. He had 12 freaking touchdown receptions.
Dude,
yeah, the kid he was balling this year.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the guy from what, LSU?
I mean,
yep.
So you've got him. You also have Ridley, correct?
No.
Who did
Ridley plays for?
He was right behind Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase in receiving yards.
I don't think Ridley plays for Jacksonville anymore. I think he plays for the Titans.
Oh, Ridley plays for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. Jacksonville picked up a wide receiver. Who was it? Gabe Davis, I think it was.
Yeah. From Buffalo. Yep.
Okay. And they have a decent running back. Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna need a change of pace back though. They're gonna have to draft somebody in this draft.
Just saying, the more I talk about it out loud, the more I think Ben Johnson is going to the Jaguars.
Well, he has an offense. You
could almost mirror it to Detroit. You've got to fill a couple pieces.
he's
Gotta
gonna
fill a
what
couple pieces.
he
but-
will come in and get a couple guys that'll flex the
Yeah.
field in game changers. I mean, he's got one in Brian Thomas, and Gabe
Well-
Davis isn't a joke either on the deep ball.
And I mean, yeah. That's what I'm saying. You
And-
want to play for a coach like Ben Johnson if you're on the offense. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
There's gonna be
Defensively,
There's going to be some big name, not some, but there's going to be a couple of big name wide receivers that are available in free agency too,
Yeah. Shame on
or at least
them
for trade.
Shame on them for giving Ricky Pearsall a C just because of the story.
didn't he
got
miss?
sh-
didn't he
You
miss
talk
two
you
games?
talk about an incomplete grade. That's a guy you give an incomplete
Yeah,
grade.
give me-
dude
you don't
got
even
shot
count
in the
this season.
fucking Chest.
Yeah,
man.
and then he
Yeah.
not only that, he like walked over to the ER medic and he's like, "Fix me."
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
dude's got
Yeah.
That's a
balls, man.
crazy fucking story.
Freaking balls of
Incomplete.
steel.
Incomplete.
Yeah, I think you give Ricky Pearsall an incomplete.
Yeah, y'all did that man dirt.
That's crazy.
Oh, look at that. See, that's another one.
Who's that?
Anything outside of the first round if they do anything, you can give them a B, B minus, C
Yeah,
plus.
absolutely.
Yeah.
First round grades though, they're all pretty good. I mean, I agree with 99% of it.
What did they give Quinyon at
Quinyon
22?
B plus, I believe. The reason they probably didn't give him an A or an A minus is because he has to share that load with, the
Slay.
rest of with Slay. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously he can't do it all by himself, but
I mean, when a quarterback targeted him, their rating dropped below 90. No other rookie corner locked as ready for the NFL right away.
well, Mike pulled
Lack
it.
of
I remember Mike pumping
splash
fists
plays.
when they got Quinyon, and there's a reason for it. Everybody was drooling and salivating over the fact that you could get a starting NFL ready Pro Bowl caliber corner in the draft, and everybody I can't believe so many teams whiffed on him that late. It's just
You know the
different
craziest stat on
team.
him?
One
Do you know how
interception,
many
and I
passing-
think he gets an A.
Do you know how many pass interference calls Quinyon Mitchell had this year?
Probably zero because nobody.
He had absolutely zero. Yeah.
They don't throw the ball near the guy either.
That's awesome.
No. He only gave up 2 touchdowns, but he didn't give up more than I think 40 yards in a game to any wide receiver this year.
Oh, no, and
And he was guarding ones.
Well, right, and the only way that I've ever seen any team be able to attack him is by going in the slot, and you're not going to get 15 yards a pop going across the middle on a slot on a slant route. You're going to get 5 or 6, 7 yards, and you can only do that
Yeah.
so many times before he jams you. So
Yeah, and if you look at the receivers he faced and their yak, I think it's like 1.0, if even that much. Like there's no yak with Quinyon. You're catching the ball and then you're done, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah, we got very lucky. Philly got super lucky with him that he fell to 22. That Penix draft to Atlanta, oh God, that was like a lifesaver for Quinyon coming to Philly.
Dude's on drugs for sure.
something like that.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go ahead and just thank everyone for being here. Holy poop. Man, playoff football comes and gets you. Comes and gets you real quick. As a Packer
Fast.
fan, I hope we have more to talk about next week. But with there being a Philly fan here, I think regardless, we will have more to talk about next week.
You
And
definitely
moving
knew
forward-
there was a Philly fan here.
So
Yes.
I let you guys go at it for about 12 and a half minutes.
I love football.
Well, and see, that's-
I
great.
love
And that's what I love about this show versus other shows. Like, we can, because it's not like, I hate your team and I'm better than you. It's like, okay, here's your fact,
Oh,
here's
no,
your
no.
argument.
Yeah.
Here's my fact, here's my argument.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
football fans arguing football, and that's what I
Yeah.
love, as opposed to people taking it personally and getting all shitty to each other.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Mike, just wait until I get you and I'll invite all of us on and we're going to do a TikTok episode where we're going to bring people in to give us their take on their team and we're going to rip them apart.
Oh,
just wait for-
God,
wait
yeah, that's great.
for-
Hashtag can't wait. But it's TikTok, so it'll be a polite ripping.
Yeah, you can't
Yes.
swear. So
Yeah,
otherwise
it'll be a
we'll just
polite
get
ripping.
banned and we don't want that.
So you're going to hear me calling a lot of people fluffernutters. You're being a fluffernutter.
And
We'll come up with different words for it. Yeah.
And poop heads.
Poop heads. There you go.
Can we say poop?
I think you could say duty.
Duty?
Okay, they're duty heads.
Because it's like DUTY, like duties, like taxes. Yeah.
That's funny.
Desnudo duty. Desnudo duty.
Just start talking in pig Latin. Tish.
Is it desnudo man
Tish
with no
heads.
pants?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anywho, I anybody have anything else they want to add? I still haven't figured out what the goodbye is going to be yet, but it's coming quick.
I just want to say, you guys, to everybody listening, to everybody, and Chucky's gonna reiterate the sentiment once they wrap up. But if you're struggling, like, please reach out. I've had a couple of people DM me on Twitter and YouTube and Instagram, and struggling through the holidays. Like, this time of year is hard and it's lonely. And if you need to talk, DM one of us. I'll give you my number. I'm up almost 24 hours a day anyways. I don't sleep.
All day.
But please take care of yourself and reach out should you guys need it. The fact that you listen to us at all means the world to us. And
yeah, we care about you.
We want to see the world a better place, not a worse off place because you're out of it. So if you need help, please just reach out.
Yeah. Well, I was going to talk about that duck with the snake head, but I feel like I can't now. Of course, that's an Ancient Aliens thing. I've got stuck on that again. We got separate long story. We don't need to get into it. Yes, we do care about you on this show, and growing up, love was a word that you either didn't hear often or you didn't use a lot, or I don't know, it felt precious. Where in fact I feel like people should probably do that more. It should be a more comfortable thing to just, because it's like I love you could just simply mean I love our friendship. I love what we do together. I love what we create. It doesn't mean that you're going to go to one of these X websites and try to make some money. All right. It just
We don't have an outro, Charles.